Ange, no clue, far from the land. Tottenham stranded in shadows, no man's land. Lost on the pitch, echoes in the night. Fans screaming loud, no end in sight. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Where's the Leo who waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Speechless, impressed, they're at the ground. No solutions, nowhere to be found. Fast on the side, hearts turn to stone. Stadium echoes a lonesome drone. Whispers in the air, they speak of change. Up on the horizon feels so strange. Question lost in every wayward pass. And ghosts the future fading fast. Where's the Leo who waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind.
What's up, everybody? How we doing? Hope we're all well. Well, I suppose as well as can be. Today was a disaster. I thought Thursday was bad. I actually went to the game today. On the way there, was a little bit numb, right, from Thursday. Like Thursday kind of got me, the way we played and the way our defense was and stuff like that. But hell, man, I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting this. But let me bring on. Obviously, we've got Maz, Has, Dietrich. Just say hello quickly. There's another couple of key boys who are hanging about, and I'll bring them in as well. Big up Dan and Sava. But Maz, quickly, what's happening?
I'm here. I'm ready to talk about what happened today.
Thanks. That's what we want to hear. Has?
Well, apart from Tottenham, my life's going great. And yeah, Costa no clue, I guess. And yeah, we move.
That intro was quite apt, right? He's lost his mind. Dietrich, what's happening, brother?
Well, hello everyone. Hope everyone's doing well as always. I'm super happy. Couldn't care less about Spurs anymore. And I told everyone that this guy's a fraud, but nobody listened.
Well, it's time to talk about it now, Dietrich, for sure. Robbie, how are you, man?
I'm alive. Spurs haven't killed me yet, so all good. Good to see everyone on the panel tonight and in the chat.
Excellent. And we have Scott M. Welcome.
Hey, JP, thanks for having me. I know we're going to hear a lot of people saying how surprised they were, and I wish I was surprised, but this result is so predictable with what we've become as a club. So good to be here. Can't wait to talk about the great Spurs.
Dan?
Same Spurs, different day, innit? I said I was worried about this all week to everyone. I said it just had Spursy written all over it. We haven't got the name Spursy in the England dictionary for no reason. And this was it again, and it proves again. Ange is out of his depth.
It's painful, man. And Sava, I know you did a live stream, or it was kind of probably about 5 hours or something, wasn't it? That you were on. But, thanks for coming on, man. Big up to you. And
Look, always, man, and hopefully some people came across from my live stream. Look, I'm pretty much like Dan. It is same Spurs, different day, different year. I feel sorry for those that think it's different, JP. I feel sorry for those that are so desperate to try and find reasons why it's good that they're not actually looking at the truth. And I'll say this, JP, I'll hand back to you, but nothing's changed. Nothing has changed at this football club since this man took over. It's got worse. So we'll have the chat. Much love and thanks for having me.
welcome, man. Big up to everyone in the chat. Rather than going through everyone, I would just say massive big up to everyone. Maz, let's just get them straight into it. Obviously the team, we knew what the team was. I don't think it was going to be much different than what it was. I don't think expectations were any different, or we were expecting anyone else to like maybe start. But talk to me about the team that started from the lineup.
Well, I think it's a bit irrelevant because we've seen every single permutation possible under Ange, and nothing effectively changes. It's certainly in his tactics, and that effectively makes the team play in a certain way, and the same mistakes keep happening because of the tactics. I'm getting feedback from someone, so
It's still.
is
He
it?
left. No, it's good. It's good.
So I think it's irrelevant. I mean, we could say, oh, why didn't he play, I don't know, Basuma and Bentancur in the middle, because when they came on against Galatasaray, it steadied the ship, or, you know, why didn't he, I don't know, play, I don't know, Kulu on the right and Werner on the left, and whatever permutation you come up with, I don't think changes this outcome today. The tactics are just so flawed, and the fact that he persists with the same tactic regardless of the team, I think is a massive issue. And he's not learning from his mistakes, and he's repeating them. And he keeps coming out with this bullshit statement after the game saying, it's my responsibility, I need to fix it. Well, he said that about what, a dozen times now, or more, where he said, it's my responsibility, I've got to fix it. The only thing I can genuinely say he's fixed is he changed the way we handle set pieces. I still think that we don't handle corners very well. Slight adaptation, but we still make the same mistakes. So that's the only thing I'm going to give him credit for. I also am really frustrated when I see people saying that I'm really surprised about today. I'm with Scott on this. There's nothing surprising about what happened today. Nope. Still, on the last show he was on, when he was unwell, he said, we'll probably play Ipswich and we'll batter them because, they're bottom. And I was thinking to myself, I don't think you know that. I don't think any of us know that. I don't even think any of us know what Tottenham's going to turn up for any game. It's just like we all rely on Tottenham in the first 10, 20, 30 minutes to go on some kind of run, blow the teams away and hopefully get a couple of goals. And then that will see us through the whole game, hopefully. And if that doesn't happen, then we're all just like confused and we're like, oh no, this is awful. And what makes it even worse is you can almost predict that we're going to go a goal down. And then we're hoping that in the second half, they'll come out somehow and buck their ideas up and be brilliant. And sometimes we do it, sometimes we don't. And there's no pattern to this, because so far this season, we've won 5 games, lost 5 games and drawn 1. So that's awful. That is awful. He's the worst manager we've had since, well, I don't want to say one day Ramos was bad, because at least he won us a cup. But he's crap. He's a crap manager. He is a crap manager. And people need to wake up.
Would you say it's worse than
accept
Nuno?
that he's a crap manager.
Not big club.
Right.
Would you say it's worse than Nuno?
I think that's been
You know,
kind.
I said, I just want to caveat something. I said when Ange first came in, I said after, I don't know, the first 10, 20 games, even when the form dipped and I didn't like what he was saying and I turned very early on. But I did say he was a good manager in the sense that at the time you could see that he was working towards something. But it's been absolutely downhill ever since then. And every week and every game that passes by just reinforces how bad he is as a manager. And I'm saying he's bad as a context for Tottenham Hotspur, not for other clubs. You know, he might go to a lower league team and do well and all that sort of stuff. I'm talking about Tottenham Hotspur and what people need to understand and gauge your expectations on is we needed to step on from Pochettino's era, right? That is our benchmark. We had a certain level that we achieved under Pochettino, right? And that is what we sacked Pochettino for, to take the next step. And we've wasted the last 4 or 5 years trying to take that next step. And Ange isn't the answer on us taking that next step. In fact, now we've regressed to before Pochettino. And actually even worse, because I don't even think that he's as good as what AVB was or Tim Sherwood or any of the other managers. So that's my take on it.
I'm with Deji. He said this earlier. I would take a 77-year-old Harry Redknapp. I would take him in a heartbeat right now. I would take
I want to have Sherwood Murray, and I fucking hate Sherwood.
like I would take him back. What gets me so mad about today's performance is I sent a super chat to Sava's show. It was unbelievable.
So I just quickly, Mario, there's really bad feedback. Someone in it, there's really bad feedback for whoever's talking. I've got it on mute, and all I can hear is feedback. So
Is it me? Can you hear it when I speak or when other people?
I think it's you.
Okay, I'll hop out. I'll try and come back in.
Okay.
I had put a super chat. I might go into that. Well, I hear echo.
Yeah, I think that's your one.
Dietrich's.
No, mine is on mute. I have a mic mute.
Yeah, I'm muting mine now.
You can see, look.
Yeah, I don't have anything on. Is it good now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had sent a super chat earlier. I just thought it was unbelievable. And this is not the first time where I've seen us be physically manhandled. I said super chat to Sava during his show. It was guys like Richardson or whatever that kid's name, and he's pulling Bentancur, like working his way through the midfield. We got punked today, absolutely punked, physically manhandled. And this is a championship club, a club that just came for the championship in our building. The pattern of just players not showing up to competition that we're supposed to be better starts from the top to the manager, then to the club. Yeah, Hutchinson and Delop physically manhandled us today. Mm-hmm. Absolutely unacceptable for a championship club against a supposedly Big Six club. Today's performance was atrocious. I remember people saying, okay, there were some Josh moments with Conte. Okay. But man, this is much worse. This is terrible. Like, honestly, I'm watching the game and I'm just absolutely disgusted that another bottom feeder team, and I agree with Maz that there's no gimme games with Tottenham. Absolutely none. But what gets me even more mad is I was in the back and forth with someone on X that said, well, we're only 4 points away from third or fourth. Seriously, there are people who think that way. Oh, we're still favorites in the Europa League. Who is calling us, sorry for my voice, who's calling us favorites for the Europa League? Seriously. How are we favorites for the Europa League? We can't beat Crystal Palace and Ipswich. And you want to say we're favorites? Like, people, our fan base deserves this. Absolutely deserves this. Now you have some of the happy clappers who are saying, oh, Ange out. If they say Ange out, then I'm Ange in. Because you know what? You deserve this. You refuse to put Levy and the board and this team to the close to their feet. You refuse to do it. You refuse to challenge the club. I know I messed up that analogy, but you guys know what I mean. You've heard that analogy before. They refuse to put pressure on this club, and this is why we have the club that we have.
You know what? Just a quick thing for everyone. Most of us, well, I'd say pretty much all of us on here, and Stel as well, who ain't on here tonight, have all been saying the same thing. That we get a few good results and people start clapping and people start doing all the celebrations. We're brilliant, we're excellent, all this. What's the phrase he uses? I think he puts it right when he says everyone gets drawn into it, everyone gets sucked into it. No, everyone gets sucked in for it, yeah? And look how much stick a few people get. I mean, I'd say the most people get the stick is Sava and Still. You two do get a lot of shit for it. I get a little bit here and there, so do others, but you two get a lot of shit for it. Not that you want to, but you've got the right to basically turn around and say, I told you so. I mean, how many more times do we want to get it bang on, basically, before people start saying, you got it right, even though we do want to be wrong? But it's nothing that we didn't predict. It's nothing that we didn't see coming. Quite a few of us thought we'd get a win today, but I don't think a single person here is surprised we didn't.
But Dan, the problem with all of this whole thing, right, and the shows that Stel does and Saba and you and everyone else on here do, right, is the reason why this is so easy to predict, and the reason why this keeps happening is because the behaviours are identical every season. It's just with different faces. Right?
Agreed.
The way we sign our players, the way we negotiate our players, the way we feed lies into the media, the way that certain media and journalists pump out the lies, the way that the rumour mill happens when we're linked to like Eze's and I don't know Damiao from like 20 years ago and God knows who else that we've
still
been
going on about Damiao.
Yeah, this is what but this is it. You know, they drag it up. They're like every season they think, oh yeah, who are we going to link the Spurs with? I know, we'll link it with Damiao again. And then they realise after 20 years that he's no longer playing football, so they had to move on, right? But and Ange comes in, and initially I was impressed with what Ange was saying because he was saying the right things. But the problem with Ange is he continued talking. He continued trying to give analogies for things. He continued trying to draw on his various ways of he continued to draw on his philosophy and what he'd done at other clubs and trying to equate it to his job at Tottenham and what he's going to do. And then he ended up contradicting himself. The problem with doing that much talking is he failed to manage the expectations of the fan base, which is, let's face it, probably one of the most important things for a manager to do, because not only does he need to win the trust of the board and the players, but he also needs to win the trust of the fans. And that's what Pochettino done very well. He knitted everyone together and pointed us in the right direction. And the final point is the results need to match what you're saying, right? And they haven't. And this happens every season, right? And different elements of those four things come into play. So it's obvious that this was going to happen. It's obvious. And the fans, the people in our fan base that are willing to wipe the slate clean every season and start again, they're just lying to themselves and trying to convince themselves that this time is going to be different. But I would say to them, after the 24th time, maybe it isn't like everyone else. Maybe it's you that's lying to yourself.
Do you know what Maz was? Hi, Waz.
Wazza.
It's
We
what,
go
it's what
for
happens
a
when,
little bit later on.
yeah, I think 8 hours of streaming today has made me all go a little bit potty. Do you know the funny thing is? Look, I don't mind, and fair enough. People get behind a manager and they can talk about who they want, and that's everybody's God-given right, right? And I don't believe in God, so it's everybody's football God-given right. Okay. What I don't like about it is I don't like how the actual mood changes, and what I mean by that is, when we start buying these players, everyone raves about, oh my God, this is an Ange signing. This guy is perfect for Ange ball because of X, Y, Z. Okay, brilliant. So Gray was perfect for that. Yeah. Bergval, oh my God, he's brilliant because blah, blah, blah. All right, brilliant. Odegaard, oh my God, if you actually look at his stats, and now we've got all these YouTubers making videos as to how these players fit into Spurs and how they're great, how it's a youth project, blah, 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 blah. When it starts to go wrong, those people now all of a sudden change from Kulu's world class, Son's world class, Romero's world class, Van der Ven, Porro, Adogi, Solanke, Son. All of a sudden it changes from all of these players are great and you wouldn't swap them for any of Man City's and Liverpool's and Arsenal's to, but Ange wasn't backed. It's like, well, hang on. In the summer, when people like us here were saying that, we were negative. Now that that's come to fruition, it's, yeah, but it's not Ange, it's Levy. Well, hang on. We all know here. I don't think there's a single person on this channel here who's going to stick up for Levy. I don't know Robbie that well, but I don't know. But, you know, and there you go. Fair enough.
He's leaving out. He's leaving out.
No one's going to sit here and stick up for Levy. But make your mind up. Are we this great team with a great manager and great players and we're favourites to win everything? Or are we not ready? And everybody in the fan base kind of jumped the gun a little bit, went a bit crazy, had a pop at, as somebody said, people like me and Stella who get it constantly. Which is it? Because our fans want to have both. We want to big up every signing, big up the manager. Then when the inevitable happens, and as Maz said, it is the same every year. Every year is the same thing. We talk a great game, but the results don't show it. And when the results don't show it, JP, what we start doing is we start going, oh, but we had more possession. Brilliant. Oh, but, you know, that was the first time we'd won a game on a Monday night for 3 years. Okay, brilliant. You know what I mean? Like, we're finding
We make excuses for us.
Straw man arguments, basically what it is. Yeah.
These narratives are crazy. And the facts don't lie. I've just sent you, JP, the link to Spurs managers' points per game, right? Points per game. Now, obviously, it's going to be skewed a tiny bit depending on how long a manager's been here. So, for example, the great Bill Nick, he's quite low down in the list because I think he was manager for like 15,000 years or something. So you're going to have a lot of defeats in there. But when you actually look at people like Ange Postecoglou is below Harry, below Jose, below Conte, below Pochettino, below Andre Villas-Boas. All of these managers have got much better win rates than this guy because they're better managers, right? They're better managers. And Jose and Conte had much worse teams, right? AVB had a much worse squad. We could say he had Bale. Bale's one man. He had a much worse squad. This guy gets a squad that people want to rave about. It's going to win things. His points per game is absolutely nowhere near those managers. He's got 20, so I'm on a roll. He's got 22 points from 18 league games, 10 defeats from his last 18 league games, 4 away wins in 2024, and we're now nearly in mid-November. And still I see people going, this guy's great. This guy's going to take us on to win things. This guy's brilliant. What are they watching? I'll shut up now, but what are they watching?
I've got one point I want to make to add on, right? One thing that a lot of the fans said in the beginning is Ange won't take any shit. Do you remember all the Australian fans? Ange won't take any shit. Soon as things don't go his way, he's out the door. You know, it's his way or the highway. What has he turned out to be? The ultimate yes man. He's accepted Solomon, Odibert, fucking, you know, like
worse than Jose and Conte. Worse than Jose and Conte.
Oh, mate. Well, he's accepted dross, and not only has he accepted dross, he's owned the dross as well. He said, "I pick the players. I'm the one who he gives the call if the players are going to get signed or not. I've got to fix this. I've got to do that." That's great. Don't get me wrong. I love a person who takes responsibility and accountability, right? Therefore, by his own standards, we should judge him. And he's failed, and he's failed badly, right?
Yep.
So why isn't everyone Ange out? There should be Ange out.
Because
I'm
man,
Ange out because he's not a very good
that's why.
manager. Not
It's
because I
something
just
very
want
simple.
another manager. He's just a bad manager that needs to leave our club. I'd rather roll the dice, like what Kuba says, Sava. I'd rather just roll the dice and hope that we get someone who's good, right? And then if they're not good, let's roll the dice again, because that's the only way, unless the fan base wakes up, right, and starts demanding success and standards, we're just going to perpetually be in this cycle. Anyway,
Maz, he's living off of 10 games at the beginning of last year. He is living off a new manager bounce, because since that new manager bounce, which apparently is what it is every time a new manager comes in and does well, apart from Ange, right? He's had 39 games as league manager since then, right? He's had 49 games as our manager, right, in the league. The 39 games since then, someone said earlier, he would be 12th or 13th in the last 39 league games. That's an entire season, right? That's shocking. But for some reason, oh no, but the start of last season, well, that was over a year ago. That was over a year ago. Since then, this manager's form is desperate. And somebody put a great post. Sorry, I promise I'll shut up in a second. Right? Somebody put a great post in my chat just now, and they said, any other manager at a top 6 club that gets 22 points from 18 league games with 10 defeats, they don't last at that club. Arsenal wouldn't put up with it. City, Chelsea, Man United. Well, Man United didn't. Man United haven't, right? Man United saw how they were failing, and they've gone, see you later. And that guy won trophies.
And they won
We've seen how
back.
we're failing. We've seen how we're failing. We're going, this manager's the man. This is the best manager we've had. What?
And they sacked Ten Hag as well. They sacked Ten Hag. He won more trophies than any Spurs manager in the last 20 years. We're all taking the piss out of him. It's like,
He won
mad.
more trophies than Spurs have in 30 years.
Yeah.
Forget any Spurs manager. He won more than Spurs have won in over a quarter of a decade. Back to back. In the worst Man U team possibly I have ever seen. Or one of, anyway. And he done it back to back. Look, I think just some people need to accept it. It ain't going to work. 1 week it will, 1 week it won't. Because there's just no consistency with him. And then 1 week we might beat a City. But then you do know the next week or week after we're going to lose to a Palace or an Ipswich or whatever else. And then another game we're going to win it 4-1. And then another game we're going to get cooked 5-1 ourselves. He is out of his depth. As all he had to do, I've said it 100 times, to win most of the fans was kick the bloody ball forward. Any one of us could have gone and done that. That is why a lot of the fans love him, because they don't want to go back to, what do you call it, fossil football or whatever and that. No. But I want a young manager that can adapt and can sort of play both types of football when needed. He's out of his depth. He's got no experience in a top league, and people big up proper what he done at Celtic and that. Fine, he got the treble at Celtic. But what competition did he have? Steven Gerrard went out to bloody Scotland and got a result. The Scottish Premier League is ranked lower than the American League, for God's sake. I think if he managed a mid-table team in England, where he wouldn't adapt, they're going down, because they wouldn't have enough quality to win the games that we do. They're going down because he would just stick to one way and you'd get a relegation off of him.
I think that's a fair shout because, well, I mean, kind of like the way the football is, right? And like the way that the fact that he's so unadaptable, I suppose is the word. Did you want to, had your
Yes,
hand
sorry.
up for 10 minutes?
I think the answer is very simple. If you go back to what he said before the Brighton game, that's the answer. Because they asked him, what do you want, two similar teams playing against each other? Are you doing anything different? And what was his reply? We're here to entertain. Because as long as the fans are quote unquote entertained with this so-called attacking football, which isn't even attacking football, he's still going to be here because our fans have defended this guy. I've never seen in my lifetime a manager be defended so much for doing so little. Like, it's unbelievable.
Mad.
It's unbelievable. And that's the problem, because there's still fans out there who probably defend this guy because apparently, like Dan said, we just kick the ball forward, and that's what it is.
So
Not only defended.
Yeah, I was just going to ask Scott.
Oh, all right.
I was just going to say, not only defended, but there's now, and I'm going to apologize to all the fans because I'm going to attempt to criticize the manager, which I've now heard that since we're not managers, we're not allowed to criticize or say anything about the managers. We're not I never heard that under Poch, Nuno, Jose Conte, but now it is. The one thing, kind of building on what Sava and Maz were saying, in the summer, everyone, not just us, not just all the negative toxic fans that we are, every channel I heard is saying we needed a 6 in the midfield, right? We needed to strengthen that 6. The only time it changed is when we didn't buy one, and fans quickly said, well, no, actually, we don't really need one. I don't need to have my UEFA B, C, D, E, F license to know that every single team that wins in the Premier League, look at the strength that they have in midfield. Rodri, Conte, Fabinho, Thiago with Liverpool. Even this year, you look at Liverpool. Who's like the number one big revelation for them this year? Gravenberch, the way he stepped up and dominated for them. You look at other places, Madrid, Barcelona. I mean, all those teams have such a strong midfield. And what we've heard from Ange, he doesn't need that. He's going to do it differently from everyone else. Well, kind of taking it back to the game today, we're playing against an Ipswich team that we all probably agree is really a championship level team, right? They're plucky. We like them. McKenna does a lot of things that are great, but really they're a championship team. They're going to go down likely. They're not great, and not once did our midfield at any point look like they had control of the game. They didn't look like they were taking over and dictating the way the game is. And as everybody likes to blame our players, well, that's great. So maybe it's because we had Sarr and Bentancur and Kulu. They're the problem. But against Crystal Palace, when we had Madison, Kulu, and I think Bentancur, we had the exact same problems. So it can't just always be all on the players when we change up all the combinations in our midfield. And never once this game do I think our midfield has dominated game. Maybe against that United side that looked like they were out of it. But that's what happens. And our fans will always talk about how great Ange is, how great our transfer windows are. But we're doing things that winning teams don't do. Ange constantly talks about doing things differently from winning teams. Well, if you say that you're not going to do things like winners do, and then you don't win, eventually that has to kind of come back on you, right? If you're saying we're going to do things differently, we don't want to do what the good teams do. Okay, you better win, because when you don't win, when you don't get results, and when you lose games, and we can point to exactly the problems that we all saw and that we see that winning teams have, then you do take the blame. And I'm not one. Everybody knows me. I will go in on all the players all the time. But when we see the different combinations in the midfield week after week and same terrible results, I have a hard time just putting that on the players. At some point, the manager has to take responsibility. And defensively, when we see players like today on their first goal, where that guy was standing there, he could have stopped, taken a break, had a drink of water, and then kicked it over his head with how much time he had. Well, 3 of our players are standing there watching him.
Yeah.
And that isn't just today. That happens when Mickey Van de Veen's in. It happens when Dragusin's in. It happens when Davies is in. It doesn't matter who's in with under Ange. The same way it doesn't matter who's playing fullback for us, how easy it is for them to get crosses, like they had that cross in today. And that's for me where I blame the fans, I blame Ange, is that we all know this was coming. We all said we need to get strength in the midfield. And we were told, nope, we don't need that strength because Ange is going to do it differently. He doesn't need to win like the top managers need to win. He's better than that. And it's showing that it's not the case at all.
Well, you forget we bought Archie Gray. He's the revelation of number 6.
Well, he's a top right back in the league now, isn't he?
We played him everywhere else, though, weren't we, really?
Yeah. And one more thing.
I often see Scott in the chat. Big up, Scott. And I do think, oh my God, listen, I'm negative, but Jesus, he's really negative. But listening to all of that, I can't make you wrong on any of it. We do the same. We're looking at, you're right, we're looking at clubs that have been successful and going, we don't want to do the successful route. We're going to try this route. And we've done it for 24 years and it's not worked. But don't worry, this manager's going to do something different. Then we have fans that say things like, in the summer, you say things like, oh, we need a Locatelli. We need a Thuram. We need this. We need that. No, they're not better than Bentancur. They're not better than Basuma. They're not better. Maz, we had this chat the other night, right? Me, you, Dan, a few others. We had this chat about players that our fans keep telling me are quality. Where were they today? Where were they against Palace? Where were they v Galatasaray? Quality players aren't this poor this often. And it all stems for me from the midfield. If you've got a proper midfield, look at Arsenal, right? Arsenal, it's no coincidence that Arsenal's downturn in form has been since they've not been able to put out Partey, Rice and Odegaard together. You get Partey, Rice and Odegaard together. Sorry, I know we're talking about them down the road. That's a really good midfield three that controls games, right? Man City, at the moment, no De Bruyne, no Rodri, not controlling games, right? It's no coincidence. Top teams have, like Scott said, they have top midfielders. We have a lot of average midfielders that we really, really want to be better than they are. Papa Sarr's generational. No, Papa Sarr has a good game every now and then, runs around a lot, gives the ball away a lot. Bentancur is weak as piss. People saying he had a good game today. I thought he was bullied. I thought he was bullied.
To add to that, because I put who was it? Ange ball, right? Because you're talking about that one goal he scored. At halftime, like I said a super chat. Hutchinson, not once but twice, wrestled Bentancur off him, wrestled him, punked his ass, punked him in his building, and Bentancur on that one counter, he was the one who turned over the ball that got Ipswich on the counter. He was the one who gave up the ball. I don't care he scored that header. Bentancur was shit. Our midfield was punked today by a championship club. There's no.
Can I just ask the question? Sure, our midfield wasn't good, but usually against a team in the, let's say, in a relegation form, you would place all your best players like the most creative. How come Maddison didn't play? How come Basuma didn't play? Because usually the midfield we had today, I would assume we would play that against the top six, but not against a relegation team. We had zero creativity in midfield.
I think the excuse you'll get, like Dietrich, is that those two played on Thursday, right?
But they barely played on Thursday. Madison did not play on Thursday.
Yeah. No one knows how he picks his team.
And you know what?
The thing is, Dietrich, it could be any combination today, and it will be I think it would have been the same outcome. And
no, but
just on the point that Savile was making about our players being class. I think this ultimately stems from Daniel Levy and his unwillingness to move players on if they're a failure quickly, right? As an example, Basuma comes to Spurs. We all thought he was a quality player. He was a quality player. You know, he done brilliant at Brighton. He comes to Spurs. 1 season, can't get a tune out of him. 2 seasons, can't get a tune out of him. At that point, we should be thinking, right, you had 2 seasons, mate. We're paying you good money. You should be your professional footballer out the door. What do we do? No, we'll change your manager and try and get a tune out of him. Same with Ndombele, right? Change your managers trying to get a tune out of Ndombele. Same with Lo Celso. Yeah, Lo Celso hardly played because he's constantly injured. But nevertheless, change your managers trying to get a tune out of them. Same with Richarlison. Comes in, £16 million striker, or however much he costs, a lot of money, scores 1 goal in his first season, gets injured, comes in the second season, scores 12. Don't care what anyone says. For Tottenham Hotspur, a striker that scores 12, 13 goals a season is a failure, right? We've had Defoe, Robbie Keane, Berbatov. God, even Crouch for crying out loud. You know what I mean? It's like
Pavlyuchenko, even.
Yeah, even Pav, right? And I didn't mind Pav, but he scored more goals than that. I'm sure of it. And even if he didn't, he was a much better player. And
He had one
we
purple
just
patch, so
hold on to these players, and it's all comes down to Daniel Levy looking at those players and thinking, yeah, but I spent 60 million on him. What do you mean he's not working out? What do you mean that Richarlison's not a Harry Kane replacement? I've just gone and spent 60 million on him, right? And the same thing will happen with Solanke. If Solanke doesn't work out, you watch, we'll hold on to him for the next 3 or 4 years, even if he doesn't work. Because Levy will turn around to the next manager or Ange and go, what do you mean he's not working out? I just spent 65 million on him. You have to squeeze the lemon. I want him for another 5 years here.
Yeah.
Right?
How long was Ndombele here for? Was it 5 years?
Yeah.
Wait,
Now the argument is that, yeah, but of course, if an owner or the club makes an investment in a player, they want to get a certain amount of success out of him and stuff like that. Sure, but when it doesn't work, the big clubs like Liverpool's, Man United's, or maybe not Man United recently, but Man United, Man City, Chelsea, if their player doesn't work, they get rid of them.
Yeah.
We do not.
Yeah.
We hold on to them. And then what our fan base does is they find excuses to be like, yeah, but he's not left because he's class or he's not better than this player, or he's, can't get rid of Bentancur because, he's stayed at our club and, got a bad injury and stuff like that. It's just,
yeah, our fans hugely overhype a lot of our players. Though. I mean, like, you're looking at
I think
that
all of them,
squad
Robbie,
going to
to
the
be honest.
midfield, for example. Yeah, Sarr, I'd say he's a 6 or 7 out of 10. Bissouma, maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10. Bentancur, a 6 or 7 out of 10. We've got a couple of good players and maybe 1 or 2 very good players, but we don't have any world-class players, in my opinion, like people rave on about. I don't think we have a player who's going to go out there when to go and get stuff like today, for example, and rescue us and score a worldie. I think our players are hugely overhyped. And I want to go back to something that Scott said about the players, not performing well and people blaming the players. Yeah, the players are to blame for today and the games that we lose. But it's also on the manager when he's watching the team capitulate and fall apart. He's just stood there, hands in his pockets, doing nothing about it. We need a goal today. You've got Maddison on the bench, and you bring on the worst finisher at the football club, Timo Werner, one of the worst in the league, instead of a creative player. I can't get my head around it. If you're blaming, the players for how bad they've been, surely you've got to blame the manager for doing nothing about it. In today's game, in the Palace game, it took us to go 3-2 down against Brighton to make changes. I mean, it's game management at times can be good, but it's nowhere near consistent enough like anything with this club and Ange.
2 out of 10 is not good enough. Simple as that. And that's what he gets it right. When he does get something right, he gets it spot on. But he only does that about 2 times out of 10, basically. And that's not good enough for a club, let alone a club that's wanting to look at Champions League and win something.
I mean, to Robbie's point there, I mean, absolutely spot on, mate. I agree. The only thing I don't agree on, I think we've got some good players. I don't think we've got any that are very, very good. I'll be honest. I don't look at any of those players at Spurs now and go, here's my determination. If I woke up tomorrow to see that one of the players had left, which one would I be upset that has left? No one where I'd go, what? What? You've sold him? Years gone by would be, what do you mean we let Modric go? Sorry, what? Sorry, Christian Eriksen's gone. Like, what? Now it's kind of, add loads of players in there. Now I look at it and go, all right. So people are going, oh my God, if Romero leaves, cool. All right. If Romero leaves, there's other centre backs. All right. Mickey van der Ven's good. But again, have we seen him actually play as a defender rather than just a road runner? Poronadogi, I think if you sent me out in the market to scout 2 fullbacks, I'll bring them back within 24 hours, much better than they defend. I just don't think I think there's some players that on their day can do some things on their day, but consistently, there's not anyone that I think worries the big 4, like that you go, that player walks into that team. Son now, again, injuries, age, that kind of thing is starting to hamper him a little bit. But the biggest issue for me, Robbie, is you said it there. Spurs need a goal, right? We're at home to Ipswich Town, who haven't won a game all season. Your number 10 that you bought is sitting on the bench and comes on for 7 minutes. Lancashire, who's a young striker that we decided not to loan out, is on the bench. Scored in midweek.
It's Timo time.
Isn't
Oh
bought
God, please.
right? He brings Timo on, not them. And I'm thinking to myself, right, any manager that really wants to win that game, do you know what? Lancashire, go on. You go up front and play with Solanke. Just get in the box. Any
Do
scraps,
something.
you just get in the box. Right, Maddison. All right. Maddison, go and play from the left, but float and do what you need to do, or play in the hole. We don't do it. We don't do it. It's the same substitutions. It's always, if Sarr starts, Basuma comes on for him. If Basuma starts, Sarr comes on. Same with Bentancur. If someone starts on the wing, that person comes off for Timo Werner. It's so predictable that the manager's got no plan B, C, D. He's got nothing. And whatever we want to say in here about James Maddison still this season's got good goal return for the minutes he's played. His goals and assists are good in the Premier League. He's got a good return. You need a goal, 7 minutes he gets. And then when we bring him on, where does he play him? He's deep lying. He's deep lying. He's a number 10. I'm so frustrated with this.
I'll tell you another thing
Can I
that
just
I think goes with it. Go on, Dietrich.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, just quick. It's gonna be quick. Do you know one thing I realized? I saw on against Galatasaray. When Madison did a mistake, I swear the guy on the camera focused on Ange, and he was losing his mind on Madison. So maybe the two of them, they have probably like an issue.
Beef or
But
something. Yeah.
probably beef, I don't know. But what second thing I want to mention, none of the players he bought came on today, other than Werner. That shows how bad our window was. So in fact, we didn't do anything properly that summer, and people called it a 7 out of 10. Oh, we bought the next generation. What a load of bollocks. Which I don't think we're good enough. And I probably think we're gonna finish mid-table. That's
I
how
mean,
it's
let's
gonna go.
I mean,
The
let's
point
be
of that
honest.
is,
The window was poor, right? It wasn't a great window in any way whatsoever. And like you're right, Dietrich. Sorry, Dan. You're right. You're absolutely right, Dietrich. In terms of he's gone out and got Bergwell. He's gone out and got the generational talent in Archie Gray. Do they ever come on when we actually need them? I understand. I personally understand they're young and quite possibly they shouldn't be starting. But do you know what? He's gone out and bought them. So if you've gone out and bought them, you need to play them in your team, right?
There's loads of
Yeah,
noise.
but
Sorry.
Someone's got some background.
Someone here has got people talking in the background. Sorry, I can't hear anything apart from whoever's talking in the background and that person. Sorry to be a pain.
Yeah. That's better. That's better. He's
Wicked.
got to play them, right? He's got to start them initially. He's gone out and got them at the start of the season. They're the players that he feels that should be benefiting his team. He's got to start them. All right, they're young, right? Kind of like we.
JP, he said these are all
like-
his signings. That's the
let's be real.
problem. Like,
yeah,
Exactly. Let's be real. They're young and quite possibly they're not going to replace Bentancur and people like that just in the team straight away. Even though personally I think they should. However, to be down in games and not bring them on, what does that say?
I'll tell you one thing it does say, which I'm starting to see with it, which shows another low standard of his, is, call this a personal opinion. Right, I've got to go and say buy 5 subs, 5 other players for my team. Do I go and play 5 mirror image players of the ones I've already got on the pitch? No, I don't. I go and get 2 of them, maybe, because I'm so set on having a defensive midfielder. I'm talking about me personally. I'd want another defensive midfielder who can defend exactly like him. But when I go out and get my winger, or inverted, whatever you want to call it, or another striker, I want to get a different striker. I want to get a different winger. I want to get one who's maybe got more pace and a better pass. Whereas my one here is a little bit slower, but he can cross the ball better. Why? Because then I can have a plan B. I can change my style a little bit. Because when you've just got a player on the side who does exactly what that player does, okay, you might do it better. But you still can't change your style. So when your style's not working, sometimes you have to take even your best player off because it's not going to work with the next style. You want to put more crosses on. Sorry, I know you're better, but off. I know you cross the ball better. Get up there on the wing. You do that. You can change about a bit. But when you've got players on the side that are basically bought to play exactly the same as the players we got, how are you even meant to do a plan B if people get what I'm getting at here? And again, it's in
no variation. There's nothing
That's
different on
the
the
word.
pitch to
Thank
what's
you.
on the pitch,
That's
right?
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no game changers. You watch Liverpool, who they're bringing off the bench. Chelsea are bringing different players off the bench. We're bringing Bentancur goes off, Basuma goes on. Meh. Right.
Exactly the same style, isn't
there's
they?
no yeah.
But okay, my only, I do agree, right? But the little voice in my head is saying, yeah, but we've never had a great bench. So are we? Do you see what I mean?
He's had
at
400
what point?
million. He's had
No,
400
you've had
million.
That's not my point. That's not my point. What I'm trying to say is, in the past, like Pochettino, did he really have game changers to bring on?
Not
No.
necessarily
Really.
game changers. No, hang on a second. But he had players who played
Just
slightly
someone to
different
change it
style.
around a bit.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
had players who
yeah.
played to a
What you're
different
currently
style,
doing
is what I'm
now-
saying.
What you're currently doing
The
now
only-
is not working.
The
So
only
get-
players
No,
I've got
I
to
agree.
bring
Look,
on-
I agree with what Dan's saying. I'm not trying to argue. I'm just saying what's the things that are popping in my head is, have we ever had a bench
Yes.
or that we could rely on? That's
not
the question
rely
I'm
on,
asking.
but we've had a bench where the players that would come on have a slightly different style to the ones that are on the pitch.
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
saying they're better. I'm not saying they're reliable, but we had players who you could bring on who would say play.
Well, actually, I guess
defensive
a good
midfielder
example
in a
of
different
that.
role.
A good
Whereas-
example of that is Loriente. Whilst he was never going to be, a great, he was well past it. At least he
He's a
offered
target
something
man.
completely
Yeah.
different.
He was an
Yeah,
out and out
last 10
target man.
minutes,
Yeah?
He offered
need a
something
goal.
different, yeah.
Get him on the pitch, lump the ball forward, and
Yeah.
dare I say it, Champions League semi-final. It kind of
Works.
works.
Well, yeah.
doesn't it?
Whereas if you've only got player for player, how can you even change anything? All right, you can bring that player on and he might do that job better. But if they're already countering what you're doing and they've already sussed you out, you have to adapt to your plan B a bit or twerk with a couple of things on the pitch, whatever. And if you haven't got a player that's got a different mentality, a different style, you can't do that. If you've only got the same sort of striker who say, let's just say, for instance, a poacher up on there, and you can only bring on another one for it, you can't go floating the ball in there. Whereas, like you said, with Llorente,
That's
we can
exactly
bring
what I'm
him on
thinking of.
and just start pumping the ball over the top, basically, because he can do that. You can change your style a bit. But our players are literally player for player style, down to the fact that Timo Werner is 100% the same as Son, except he's a poor man, Son. Yeah. But everything he does it what Son used to do it. The style. Odegaard, basically the same. Basuma, basically the same as Bentancur and Sarr. They're all the same style. Maybe one's a little bit better at this and better at that. But
Dan, someone's made a great point.
There's no variation.
Even when you've got that, take James Maddison is the example. James Maddison's a number 10, an out-and-out number 10. When he brings him on the pitch, do you see him playing as a number 10? No. We see him playing deep in the midfield. And then our fans say, he's lazy, don't track back. He's a bloody number 10. Number 10s aren't in there to do all your hard graft. Arsenal don't put Odegaard in the number 10 position and then go and do what Declan Rice and Thomas Partey do. Kevin De Bruyne, I don't want Kevin De Bruyne doing what Rodri's doing, Gundogan's doing. I want him in there going out wide, creating, playing in the number 10. Spurs are the only team that don't do this. It's utter madness.
Because Ange is not smart. Here's an example
Great.
of what you're saying, Seba, right? Do you remember when we had Ginola and George Graham was our manager, right? And we were defending corners. George Graham didn't want Ginola in the box defending or tracking back. He just said to him, you just stay up at the top of the pitch because you can't defend, right? And, do your job up there, right? Whereas what does Ange do? He gets the weakest defenders to mark the biggest players. Like, how many times have you seen Porro marking someone twice the size of him, right?
Mad.
Or all the time, you see it happening all the time. Or Romero, you would think, okay, well, who's that big centre forward lump or central defender lump that they've got? Let's stick Romero on him. Romero then's marking someone completely different. It's all backwards. He's not a good coach, and we see this week in, week out. That you can't. It's indefensible, this stuff.
But I think people
I agree.
forget that
Even look at Redknapp. Redknapp was bringing on people like Nico Cranchar. very tricky player, could play in multiple positions. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying Cranchard's the greatest player I've ever seen, but he come on different to what was already out there. You had two pacey wingers in Lennon and Bale, right? But when he bought on Cranchard, didn't have the pace, but he had the trickery, had the footwork. You know, something different. We just swap like for like. There's no
Difference,
inventiveness.
variation, whatever.
And even
like
in the last
robots.
10 minutes today, right? The last 10 minutes, I said the exact same thing against Palace. The last 10 minutes, you need a goal desperately. Scrap all this passing. Get Dragusin or Romero, one of them up front. I don't care. Old school style. We've all seen it, guys. We used to put
Big
Dawson
lads up
there or
top,
whatever.
move it forward.
Crouch,
And
Dawson.
start getting balls in their box and making their free centre halves earn their corn. Nope. Pass. And you're like, you're not going to score by tapping the ball around in midfield here. But there's no kitchen sink thrown. It's like I knew, you guys all knew, watching that last 10 minutes, Ipswich were comfortable. Muric claimed everything. If Muric didn't, one of the centre halves claimed it. I don't know. It just feels like we are two different teams. I don't know which Spurs I support. Do I support the Spurs that batter Villa, or do I support the Spurs that played today? It's like, who are we? What is this team?
Savard, the only player we've got who we can really bring on in a position that changes it is if we play Kulu as a number 10 to more as a charging forward playmaker as such, more of a target man. If we take him off and put Maddison on, that's about the only thing we've got with a bit of difference. But he goes Maddison on and sticks him down in the bloody middle.
It's mental.
Don't play him as a 10.
And everyone has a go at Maddison all the time. He's a playmaker. If you buy sorry, I'm so frustrated by this. If you buy a playmaker, play him as a playmaker. You don't buy a right winger and say, go and be a striker. Play him in the creative position. It's
not rocket science.
Didn't Ange say he doesn't believe in positions? He said all the players can play multiple roles.
I don't
But
doubt
you know,
it.
Dietrich, he says that kind of stuff, and the fans eat it up, right? Because it sounds great.
Nonsense,
Like in theory, like everybody can play everywhere on the pitch because they're all
That's
so
what he
talented.
said.
It sounds really cool, right? Like, oh, great, yes, I want my center back to be as clinical as Son, and I want my striker up front to be as tough and strong as John Terry in the set. You know what I like? It sounds wonderful to say it, but it's not really reality. And what it ends up doing is, like you said, is that we have players who don't do their role because they're kind of good at this and they're kind of good at that instead of being quality at what you want at their position.
Agreed. I can't agree with you more, Scott. I think it's absolutely madness. He comes out with a lot of sound bites that fans lap up, some of which I'll give you right now, right? Oh, we don't want to control the game. We want the game to be nice and open as long as it's entertaining. Another one that was really, really good was, oh, we don't need a plan B. Plan B is to do plan A better. Fans lap this shit up. They lap it up and go, oh, love this. What do you mean, love? Like, what do you mean? These are nice things. That's like me going into my boss and saying, have you hit your sales target? No. But you know what? I'm trying something different to all the salespeople. But all the salespeople are hitting their targets. Yeah, but you watch in 5 years. In 5 years, what I'm doing is going to pay. No, you're sacked. Get out of here. You're sacked. Hit your target. And this is the thing. This guy has been really, really poor for a year now. And our fans are finding ways. We're shoehorning ways to tell the world that this guy's different. He's not different. Give me, as somebody said, give me Harry Redknapp at whatever age he is over this clown. I'm sorry. This guy he's a clown. He really is. Sorry.
For me, my biggest issue is, and I know you
mute.
guys said about lack of variation with players and stuff, but my biggest gripe with him is not getting the best out of the players we have. Like you were saying, shoehorning this person here, playing this sort of style with the players he's got is just not working clearly. The inverted fullbacks nonsense, I'm just sick of it.
Even though a lot of people keep telling me and you on a certain
Yeah,
WhatsApp
yeah.
that he don't do it anymore, don't they?
Yeah,
Well,
it's bullshit. Like we got players like Solanke and Son, right? Son clearly can't play on the wing anymore. He still sticks him on the left. Sabah spoke about Maddison playing deeper. What's the point in bringing him on if you're going to use him further up the pitch? Like this is not even just. I don't need to have a coaching badge to have this sort of knowledge. This is a lot of it's common sense.
This is one of the points I was making yesterday. Was his tactics are so rigid. Where you have a player like Son that clearly needs to. He's at a stage in his career, and maybe he should have done this 2-3 seasons ago, but he needs to adapt his game to have longevity. Because if he relies on his pace, right, he's not as explosive as he used to be. I don't think he's as effective as he used to be on the wing, right? But that doesn't mean that he's now a bad player or he's not our best forward, because he probably still is our best forward.
He's our best finisher, I think.
Yeah,
still.
right. So you need to change the tactics. Need to have some flexibility to allow him to adapt his game, right, and go into positions where he feels comfortable, and the team can give him the opportunities for him to use his best asset, which is finishing the ball in the back of the net. He's one of the best at it, but we're too rigid. Players like Porro have regressed since last season under Ange. Adoji has massively regressed. When Adoji first came, I was really positive about him. I thought, wow, this player could really turn into something. He's got all the attributes to be a good defender. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, but he's not a good defender. He's more of a wing-back. But the tactics are so rigid. Ange only knows to play one way. He will never play him as a wing-back. And he wants him to be an inverted forward, basically, right? Which is nuts. Romero is either regressed, is either not as good as everyone thought he is, right? Or he doesn't want to play for Spurs. Either one of those three, I don't care what one of those there is, but it's not. I agree with Sabah. He's convinced me. I defended him in the first few games of the season. Now I'm not going to defend him because he's proven to me that he doesn't really give a shit, really, whether we win or lose, if I'm honest with you. I feel sorry for Van der Ven because he should be surrounded by teammates that are pushing him on as an individual, as a young defender, and they're not, right? So he's going to start regressing, and he has had a few stinkers recently as well. Oh God, I can just go through the whole team. Bentancur, up and down, up and down. 1 minute he's brilliant, next minute he's rubbish. Today he was absolutely crap. He scored a brilliant goal, but so what? He didn't do his job for the rest of the 90 minutes, and it was one of the big parts as to why we lost. Pape Sarr, how is he going to progress in this yo-yo team as a player? Right, and he's really inconsistent as well.
They all are.
Maddison, out of position. Fine. He's not the player I want him to be, and that's probably more down to me than him, right? But he's a number 10. He should be playing a number 10. We shouldn't be asking him to defend like bloody, I don't know, a number 6. But we do, and sometimes he comes so deep, right, to get the ball, right, that he almost tries to become the playmaker when really he shouldn't be. He should be that number 10 that makes things happen at the last third of the pitch. But he doesn't, because he's crowded out by Son, or he's crowded out by Adoji, or whatever player it is. No one knows where their positions are, because at some points they're all over the bloody place, right?
Is anyone at Spurs
by all of this?
Is anyone at Spurs playing in their natural position? There's a question.
The only time they're playing their natural position is when they kick the ball off.
But I'm saying it. Porro, like, we've got a goalkeeper that isn't a goalkeeper that plays it out the back. He's playing that version of a goalkeeper, right? You've got two fullbacks that are not fullbacks; they are wing backs. They are both horrible defensively. I don't care what anyone says; they both can't defend. Mm-hmm. You've got Bentancur being asked to play a number 6, and he can do bits of that job, but he's not commanding enough. He's not strong enough. You've got Maddison, who's a number 10, never playing as a number 10. Brennan Johnson is the only right winger apparently in the world that doesn't actually want to be a right winger and beat a man, right? He's a forward. You got Sonny, who's gone as a wide man now and needs to be coming into the middle and scoring goals. Solanke spends half his game in midfield. Who is playing in their position? It's just also erratic. So when people say to me, what manager will come in? Just a normal manager that will go, right, I've got three good centre halves. I've got 2 good wing backs. I've got a playmaker. There's the nucleus of my team. No, not Spurs. We're going to do inverted this. Wingers that don't want to get out wide. It's and fans go, yeah, it's brilliant. It's
I think the players have lost faith in it. We've been saying this since last year. They look like they don't want to play the system.
At the start of this season, it looked like they'd bought into it a bit more again in the first couple of games, even though it didn't go right. But now they're looking to have exactly the same attitude that me and quite a few of you lot said in the last 10 games of last season, where it looks like they're already washed with it.
Well, there was something telling that Ange said earlier, maybe longer. I don't know when he said it. He said it at some point in this season where he says, I've got to go to the players and I've had to ask them for commitment to the process and the system. Why is our manager saying that?
That says it all, really, doesn't it?
He's basically saying that the players ain't. Now, the way I translate that is the players are basically saying to him, look, Gaff, or whatever they want to call him, we ain't digging this. Because no defender can actually enjoy this style of football. Surely not.
No.
Watching Romero walk out with the ball, stop, kick the ball to Dragusin. Dragusin stops, kicks the ball back to Romero. He took a pace forward, stops, kicks. I mean, is that good football? I mean, that's where Sava. That's where our 66% possession comes from.
Possession.
Can I ask you guys Can I ask you guys a question?
Sorry, checks. Go on.
Oh no. Yeah, just quickly. Who do you think is a worse defender? Dragusin or Dyer? Because I'll be honest with you, when I see Dragusin, it's pathetic.
Dyer. Yeah, Dyer.
I think Dyer.
Although playing this system, Dragusin's as bad as Dyer. But I think if Dragusin
works
standard system,
I think Dragusin
No, I'm talking about like
better than
under the system. We saw Dyer under Ange and we saw Dragusin, who has been worse.
They're both not suited to playing out the back. Again, Dietrich, if you had a back three and Dragusin was the man in the middle of the back three whose job was simply to head everything out, be the deepest lying defender, clear his line and give it to the other 2 or the wing backs, you'll see a good defender. Unfortunately, we've got a defender that isn't used to playing out with the back, that's being asked to do more of a ball playing defender rather than a defender. You know, like back in, I don't know if they've still got it now, but back in the day on Football Manager or Championship Manager, you could say, are they a ball playing defender, a stopper? Dragusin's an old school centre back that wants to put his head on things and defend, right?
He's a John Terry.
Yeah, for lack of a better term. If you put him in the middle of a free, funnily enough, he played in a free at his last club. So did Van de Ven at times. So did Romero. It just makes sense. 2 wing backs, 2 fullbacks that both played wing backs at their previous club. It's just stubborn. It's stubborn and the inability to change tactics. The inability. Top managers will try different things. You watch Pep now. Watch Pep between now and the end of the season. He's going to try all sorts. He's going to try all sorts to change this up. Watch our guy. It'll be exactly the same against Man City. Exactly
if we had a team that was that crap, and I mean like as crap as what Conte had, bar Kane basically, yeah, I think people would be more forgiving with him, yeah. But for the sheer fact, we know we've got a team now that is better than how it's playing. Again, I'm not saying we're going to, like, we could challenge for top 4 with that team, that first 11, unless we got injuries. If someone would just adapt his tactics, the fact that basically everyone can see it, and we can all see what he does wrong with the inverting, this, that, and everything else, playing players out of position or telling them to do the wrong thing, is pissing people off even more. Because he's got a much better team than Mourinho had, than Conte had, Nuno had, and what has improved since Conte's gone? Conte got us 4th. He left us in 4th. We've
No,
gone
nothing's
downhill even
improved.
more since he's gone.
Nothing's
And
improved.
The
Dan.
fact that he's got
Factually,
players,
no.
He's
and
got
then
work,
when
to
he
be honest.
and then when he has done it once or twice, because he has done it once or twice, we've blatantly played better. But it hasn't clicked like we looked better against City and Villa playing that way. Maybe I should play that way. No, he's too stubborn and stuck so far up his own arse he can smell yesterday's dinner. And he won't change it.
I think really quickly, just Dr. Tottenham's PA, thank you very much for the donation. And certainly your doctor turned up today, that's for sure. This team's, and I think we've said this already, right? Like this team's perfect for Conte. I think he would have loved playing his system with some of these guys.
Mate, I said this
I
a year
agree.
ago.
Porros and stuff like that, right?
Two of them are
Yeah, I
bought
think
for him.
with the back three.
Do you think
Sam, go on.
Romero, Udogie, and Porro were all bought under Conte's reign? Sorry, Romero was already there, but they then bought Udogie and Porro, but didn't give him any other centre halves. Listen, I'm not going to be a revisionist. I'm not going to sit here and lie to any of you. You know I don't. I don't like Conte as a manager. He's not for me. I think the only way you have Conte as manager is if you're going to go, right, Conte, go and pick what players do you want, give him what he wants, and we crack on. If I don't like the football, I don't like the football. But we're Tottenham. We're not going to give Conte what he wants. No point in being here.
But that's the change we were looking for, Sava, though. That's the whole point, isn't it? We thought, all right, we got rid of Poch, which we never should have done. But let's face it, near the end, Poch wanted to go. I had enough. I thought, if you're going to just down tools and the team's going to get, you might as well get sacked, right? But deep down, I didn't want him to go. I wanted him to be back. But I thought we bought Jose so Levy could go, right, Jose, tell me what the secret formula is to win. And Jose went to him, right, the secret formula is, Daniel, Skriniar and Fernandez and whatever, right? And then Levy went, I know what I'll do, Jose. I'll get you Rodon and Jedson Fernandez. right? So he done the same thing, right? But again, and it's not about whether you like them as people or their tactics. It was, here's the keys to Tottenham Hotspur, Jose. Make us win, right? And he didn't do that. And then he done it again. He got Conte, and you're like, right, Daniel, Conte's here, serial winner, right? Conte, what do you need? I need a striker who's going to replace Kane because I know Kane's leaving. All right, I know what I'll do. Here's Richarlison. And then Conte lost his shit.
Longley as well.
I think you're giving him too much credit, man.
You got Longley.
Longley.
Emerson Royale was still there.
I don't think he asked either of them. I think Jose was brought in because Levy wanted to hope that Jose could squeeze one last run out of the Poch players so he didn't have to do the rebuild. And I think Conte was brought in for the same reason, is Levy wanted to hope that he didn't have to actually buy quality players, that he could bring Conte in and he could squeeze more out of the players. And then when neither one could do it, then that conversation you're talking about happened. I think that's both why we're seeing the problems we are now, why we're seeing a team that makes sense for Conte, because he's never brought in with a plan to give him something to succeed. Same, and Sava knows my feelings about Jose. I'm not his biggest fan, but he was brought in because he wanted to have, because Levy wanted to say, I think Jose can get something out of these Poch players. I think let's see if he can squeeze it. And when he couldn't, he was screwed. He never was given the player. Then, like you said, they had those players. This is what we need to succeed.
But
this
the great thing about Jose and Conte is they turned around to Levy and said, "These players are crap.
Yeah.
You can't win like this." Right? And they both said it in their own way in press conferences. And what does Levy do? No, I know best. Ange is going to do it.
Not just leave. Then our fans, it goes back to what you said at the beginning. Then our fans say Jose and Conte aren't Spurs managers. Yeah. They don't fit what we want to do here. And the reason they don't fit is because they want to win. They want, what does that say about our club? But our fans say Jose and Conte aren't Spurs style managers because they want too much to win. And that's what they're saying, right? That's why they don't fit. We need somebody like Ange to come in. He fits Spurs because he won't demand the players that we need to win.
Well, let's put this like Daniel Levy Spurs. Daniel Levy Spurs.
No, but you see the difference, Scott. We brought Ange. We spent more money on him. And look at the players we bought. Look how much money he spent on players.
We did.
And look, but imagine we gave that money to Conte and Jose. The amount of Good players. They
Yeah,
win
but if we
games.
would have
Not
given
the
them that
money,
money, they
Chick.
wouldn't have agreed to how they
It's the
spend it.
wages.
Yeah.
It's the wages, right? Listen, I mean, listen. I'm going to stick up for Ange a tiny bit here. You know, look, whether or not Ange knows what a top player is, I'm not sure because he's never managed top players wherever he's been. But at the same time, you know, I put the graph up, Dan, and you saw it on the show we just came off together. I brought the graph up of what we did in the summer. What we actually did was save 30 million a year in wages. And the actual spend was about 18 million pounds. We're like the sixth richest club in the world. And our actual net spend was 18 million pounds. So yes, we've given money to this manager, but again, it's rather than instead of buying Bergvall and Gray for 50 million between them and going to get, like Stel said earlier, a Neto for 50 million. We want the two kids because Neto's going to want 250 grand a week. Those two kids between them are about 100, probably on about 100 grand a week between them. Right. And that's the difference, right? So we're spending money, but we're spending money on volume. And again, every summer our fans lose their mind. We bought 7 new players. Yeah, we bought 7 new players. 2 might work out. 3 definitely won't. 2 will end up on loan for the next 2-3 years, keeping hold of them until we sell them. These players that we're calling great will then be called Deadwood in 3 or 4 years, whoever the manager is then. And then when we get rid of them, we'll go, oh, poor manager, he had to get rid of all the Deadwood. Eat, sleep, repeat.
Same
Eat,
cycle.
sleep, repeat. We got rid of all the Deadwood this summer, and everyone was going, oh, incomings aren't great, but outgoings are brilliant. Well, if you're going to get rid of in one window, we got rid of Ndombele, Skip, Lo Celso, and Højbjerg. Now, again, not revisionism. I'm not saying don't get rid of any of them. Get rid of all 4 of them. But you've got to upgrade. Like, if you're going to get rid of those 4 centre mids, they're 4 senior centre mids, right? Skip, I'm not saying he's old, but has been around the first team for a number of years. If you're going to get rid of those 4, go and, bring in Graham Bergvall, then go in and bring in another 2 in front of them that are senior centre mids that are better quality than Lo Celso and Højbjerg and Ndombele. But we didn't. We got bought 2 kids. And then we've got fans sitting there going, I think our squad's stronger than last year. In what way? We've let go of 4 senior players and bought in 2 kids. Like, we let go of Dyer and Sanchez and bought in no centre backs. Like, this club is bewildering.
It's what we've gone and done. Basically, is as per usual, we've gone and done our clothes shopping at Aldi's and bought some jeans and that, and then realised as soon as you put them in the washing machine once or twice, they're fucked. So do you know what? Let's go somewhere different and get our clothes. Fuck off over the road to Lidl's. That's basically Spurs all over what we do. We do not buy any we'll go to the Lidl's in the next town just to see if it's any better there.
Yeah, you get what I mean.
The local one's not as good.
Sava, we did predict this. Like the thing is, as well, is this again? All of this was predictable because JP, Iggy, Stel, and all in our WhatsApp chat, we were saying, even go back to the shows from last year, we were saying now he's building a hotel. He's going to lower his wage bill down. Everyone's thinking we're going to buy quality players. He's not going to do it. Right, and it's exactly what happened. And Stel did a show called Levyland where he outlined Levy's master plan, right? And he mentioned it in that video as well. The thing is, I thought Ange was meant to be this manager, and he says he's this manager. He says it himself that he's meant to. If he doesn't get his way, he walks out. But he hasn't. He's bought into it. He's the ultimate yes man, and he's executed Levy's plan. So if he's done that, then surely the axe falls on him.
I need to go, guys, by the way. Sorry, JP, I need to go. Just one last thing, if I can just say for the last minute. What I find funny about this situation is it's not that everything we're saying is coming true. It's not, because we all want Spurs to do well. But I just find it so funny how so many have chatted absolute bollocks, right? Absolute bollocks yet again this summer. Absolute bollocks going on. YouTubers going on TalkSport, YouTubers going on Sky, chatting absolute nonsense about how it was a great window, how we signed this player and Odegaard's this. So And then only now for people to start realizing, hang on, the manager's not been given what he needed or whatever it is, right? And Maz, you're absolutely right. I get so much shit. I get loads of Australians that love me. Loads despise me. I'm not allowed to go to Australia nowadays, right? They all tell me every day, Sava, you're racist. Apparently, I'm racist against Ange, who is Greek like me. But
You're
Sava,
Australophobic.
you don't know Ange. You don't know him. This is what I've heard for 18 months. If he's not happy, he'll walk. If he's not getting the signings he wants, he'll walk. You don't know Ange. He upskills players. Haven't seen him upskill a single player. You don't know Ange. He'll change things tactically. Haven't seen him change anything tactically. You don't know Ange. In year 2, everything's better. We've lost 5 of 11 league games. It's going to be 6 from 12. You don't know Ange. You don't know Ange. You don't know Ange. Ange is the off. Stop with the lies. Just come out and say, we got it painfully wrong. And there's going to be no judgment. If people come out and just go, do you know what? Yeah, it's not working, is it? You turn around and go, no, it's not. But they dig in. Tonight, it's a blip. It's a bump in the road. I see a massive channel say it's a bump in the road. 5 defeats from 11. 10
Yeah, but we're going
defeats
to have
from
loads
18.
of bumps in the road. So don't
Bump in
worry
the
about
road.
it.
Bumping
Anyway.
the road off a cliff. That's what it is.
Right.
It's a bump before
Anyway.
falling off the cliff.
I'm off. I look forward to waking up to abuse in my YouTube comments in the morning, telling me that I don't know Ange and that he's amazing and that I don't deserve him at my club that I've supported for 40 years. Love to you all. Take care.
Should I?
And
Take care, Sava.
Thanks, everyone, go and subscribe to
Football Heritage TV.
Football Heritage. We'll stick it in the link in a second. I'll add it in there. I have a question for. Let's start off with Sky. What needs to change for us to have a better second half this season?
The manager? No. I think honestly, no. Like, okay, look, we all know the manager needs to change. The Levy needs to change. I think immediately what could change, like what realistically could change, is again playing players in the best roles for them to play in. It's not difficult. I think we were talking about it in one of the WhatsApp groups about Son and whether he should be like how you cannot see that Son and Solanke should be playing in a 2 up front. It works for both of them because right now Solanke is not nearly clinical enough. And I know somebody will say that he got 19 goals last year, but he's shown he's not a clinical striker. Pairing Son up there with him to finish a lot of those chances up there, because whatever you think about Son, he still is clinical. He still will finish. If he gets a chance, he will still finish it. Maybe not as great as he did when he was 28 and 27, but he'll still finish those chances. Playing those 2 up front where it makes sense for him. Playing Dragusin not in a high line and asking him to consistently play the ball, which is terrible for him. Giving Madison the space he needs to be creative. And I think having Porro and Udogie moved up where they're better. They're both wing backs. We know that they're both wing backs. Why can we not play them there? That's where they're best positioned. So I think that what we should do, what we can do, is play players in positions that make sense. Play a formation that fits the team. It's great that you say that I'm going to be so stubborn. I'm going to be so stubborn. And people will say that Klopp and Pep did that. Pep and Klopp did that after they won at the top leagues in Europe, that they'd won with a style that wins at the highest level. When you're elite and you've shown that your system works at the elite level, you can say that I'm going to be stubborn and implement it. Ange has shown that his system does not work at the Premier League. We don't need 4 or 5 years. I'm sorry. We saw it last year. We're seeing it this year. So he needs to stop being stubborn and start making changes that suit the team so that we can start to get results. Because it's been long enough for us to see that we're not getting the results that we need.
Anything to add on that, Robbie?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Scott said. I think personally now, I've been on the fence with it for quite a while. I think the manager needs to change for things to improve. I don't think they'll get worse if the manager stays. I just think we'll stay where we are. To be honest, around 5th, competing for Champions League, not winning anything. But if the manager doesn't change, it's more what I want because it won't happen. But tweaks to the system, like Scott said, playing players in their best positions and playing to their strengths. At times when we have seen that, we've seen the best of us. So if Ange does stay, I hope that things can turn around. I hope that he can tweak. Then again, as I say, I hope to go on a date with Margot Robbie. So it's not.
Yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah.
happen. We'll-
Did you see
we'll
that
say,
earlier?
"Oh, I hope that Ange's going to tweak. I hope he's going to do this." I think, to be honest, he'll probably be gone a few weeks after the international break, and I'm not going to be too upset about it if he is.
As soon as the international break, eh?
Yeah, I don't see him lasting long. I think after we've got Man City away, haven't we? Again, struggling a little bit. They've got Spurs next, so good for them. And then I think we've got Fulham, who are a good side at home. We've shown today we can lose to anyone in this league. And then we've got Bournemouth away, and they've just beaten Arsenal and Manchester City at home. So yeah, I think if we drop points in a few of those games, it'll be out the door. I really do.
Has
Yeah, well, as people know, I've not had Ange out for a long time. So the problem is, he won't change his tactics. So there's no point in me saying if Ange changes, because clearly he won't, and I don't think he wants to, which is the problem. I still believe if we gave him another 400 million, we'll still get similar results. There's some games we might get a bit more points because of just slightly better players, but in the long run, like Scott said, 4 or 5 years, whatever, I don't think much will change. So you might as well just get rid of him from now. Because I just think we're just plodding along, like a lot of people said, for the sake of not sacking the manager, because we always sack managers supposedly. But this guy's just not it. Like he's not getting the best out of what we got, so I can't really get behind him. And what I just hate about the whole Ange thing for me is that people are trying to force us, who are not Ange fans, let's say, to try and believe in Ange and all this. Unless I get something to believe in, like unless he shows me something to believe in, why should I believe in him? There's nothing that's giving me evidence to show me that. So for me, he has to go as soon as possible. Yeah, so I hope he fucks off as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I
I mean, for
go on,
me,
Dan.
he's got to go. Reason being is I don't see no change in the future for it. I just don't see him progressing as a manager and progressing the club in any means or manner, except for maybe slide us a place or two forward, then backwards, then 2 steps forward, 4 steps backward, 4 steps forward, 2 steps back. I don't see him with the capability of being able to do it. He's never worked with big players in his life. He's never worked at a big club in his life. He's never worked at a big league in his life. And if he was even just a good manager, he would be able to adapt to some of this stuff and would have noticed it already when me and others and that have already been shouting about it for a year. Yes, I know people like him because he kicks the ball forward and yes, mate, we're having a good day, mate, and he talks nice and everything, but he just hasn't got what we need as a club to take us further. Question is, has any manager got it? No, they're not going to get supported by Levy. We all know Levy's, I'll give him a phone call and say, see you next Thursday or Tuesday, one or the other. We all know that, but it is what it is. But a better manager will get better results with that team. And that team is capable of winning a cup. Take injuries aside, that first 11 is capable of getting the top 4, in my opinion. If we would just have a manager that would adapt and play each player to his best capability in the best formation that suits the team, not the bloody manager. For me, when you've had a virus for that long and it ain't going away, you've got to go see the doctor. And if the doctor gives you the stuff to get off of it, that's what you got to do. And no one wants to start again with a manager, but it is what it is. It's Tottenham. It's where we are. It's who we are, mate. At the end of the day, he's got to go.
I kind of had this conversation the other Monday night with Maz, to be honest, about rolling the dice and just getting another manager. And I mean, from my point of view, I do agree to a certain extent that yes, a different manager will probably tweak the style and maybe get the best out of the players that we have now. In terms of will that change anything kind of like above? To me, it obviously goes down to the level of those people up there and Daniel Coy's kind of like, to be precise, at some point they need to be held accountable by us fans, or he needs to be held accountable by us fans for not delivering on the football pitch. Will we ever do that? Can we ever do that? Personally, the way we've all been speaking, and the way we've all said, you know what, fans look at it with different glasses on and different lens, and some of them believe that, or I think we said earlier, they make excuses for some of the players that we go out and buy, some of the players that we keep, that we extend that like out our team. I honestly feel that we need to have that kind of almost revolt against the fact that, you know what we're paying for, what we've supported over the last 50, 60, 70 years, etc., is not what we're really being provided on the pitch. And until that happens, I kind of love flipping the managers, almost just like kicking the can like down the road, which is what me and Maz were talking about like a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know when people will start making him accountable, just because we've got a nice, happy stadium and shiny stadium, and you know, the majority of us probably don't give a monkeys that there's a kind of hotel coming. There's a hotel being built. Well, funny enough, there's a hell of a lot of concrete that's already been laid for that hotel that I noticed the other day. So that's getting cracking, and I bet that goes according to plan. However, the football is, and it's like when I don't know at what point people kind of stop and just go, enough's enough. You're actually not giving me what I want, what we asked for like, as a product.
Do you
I
know
mean,
what?
Go.
Go ahead. Sorry, sir. Go ahead.
I mean, one thing you can say, like I said, he has not worked at a big team, whatever. Got people on the side telling me, I trust it to be a bloody Arsenal supporter, that he has worked at a bigger club before. He's worked at Celtic that are bigger than Spurs. Celtic are not bigger than Spurs. Celtic are not big enough money-wise. They wouldn't even be able to last. If you want to hear the truth about Scotland, that league actually gets supported by the UK government. Celtic are not worldwide known as Spurs. The only thing Celtic have actually done, if I remember right, is win the Champions Cup, that we haven't. So if that makes them bigger than Spurs, then they're bigger than Arsenal. Celtic are not bigger than Spurs.
Not even close. Come on, it's ridiculous. We could buy any player. We could buy every single player on Celtic right now if we wanted to. We could go say, we'll take your whole team and buy them. Celtic doesn't get a player off us unless they're garbage. Like,
Can I just?
Yeah.
Who went
But
there?
if you go by their European record, Scott, if you go by their European record, they were the first ones to win the Champions League or Champions Cup, whatever way you want to put it. Okay,
yeah, but it's not
why they're big.
1960 anymore.
Hang on. If you got no, but if you want to go by that with history and that, the way I'll turn this is okay. They won the Champions Cup, Champions League. We haven't, so they're bigger than us. But then they're bigger than Arsenal. But then so are Aston Villa and so are Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, I don't.
Even the club in Romania that won the Champions League, so it means they're bigger than us by definition.
Yeah,
no, it's
It's
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll just guys tell you like a quick story. So last Tuesday I played a game against a couple of Irish people, and most of them they had like Celtic jerseys. So after the game, like I went up and asked like, "What do you guys make of Ange?" And most of them said like, "He's entertaining, but he's not gonna accomplish anything." I was like, "Really?" I'm a Spurs fan, so what do you think? He's like, "He's the best you'll ever have in terms of entertainment, but he's not gonna accomplish anything because he's not good enough." And that's coming from Celtics fans. That he won the treble with them.
Would they take him back?
They said like honestly like we wouldn't mind. They don't care, but it is what they even said like any manager that manages us, we're gonna win. So it doesn't matter.
Wow, there you go.
That's the honest truth. I'm not lying. They said like any manager that comes to Celtic is gonna win, because we have a good team and the rest is not good enough or not good enough.
I think that's the problem with that league, isn't it? It's literally, really, they've got one team to beat, and that's it. However, I will say Aberdeen are doing all right so far this season. Mr. Box Office, welcome.
He got a fresh card.
And yes, I've just come back off a flight from Dubai. Yes, I have. I just need to just come back to just some things because, like I said before, it's hindsight's a beautiful thing. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, and I just need to go back to a little story I want to tell you about. It's Mr. Box Office. Story time, Mr. Box Office. Just want to tell a little story. I used to have big hair back in the day.
Snap.
But Tottenham still weren't very good. Still, I used to have. I used to be at school. Used to be at school learning and doing my GCSEs. Still, Tottenham weren't doing that well. Still, I used to actually be at university. Still, Tottenham weren't doing too well. Still, and that's it. I think you get the moral of the story. You know what I mean? This gets very, very boring very, very
Yeah,
quickly.
it does.
You know what I
Alex,
mean? It gets very,
Alex.
very boring. So, Dan, the main event just needs to finish. That's it, bro.
I just need to ask you a question, man. One question.
Let me just
Okay,
make
cool.
my point, and then you have your chime aside.
Okay.
The point I'm making is that this is just getting very, very boring very, very quickly. You know what I
Did you
mean?
find a
The
wife?
same old idiots that told me that I need to be happy when we win a game. You know what I mean? Yeah, and they know who they are. You know what I mean? And don't worry, I'll say it to their faces. Don't worry about that, because I was chomping at the bit. You know what I mean? Because I said it on Mr. Box Office TV. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I said before, where's our brilliant midfield? I was told about. Yeah, where's our brilliant midfield? Oh, it's not very good, isn't it? Who's Mr. Box Office? Which Mr. Box was telling you about all through the season, by the way. Yeah. What about our forward line? Yeah. What about our forward line that everyone was chopping up the bit about? Oh, it's not. It's not turned up again. Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, Mr. Box Office told you about that as well. Yeah, I told you about this defense as well, bruv. You know what I mean? But then no one listens to Mr. Box Office. And what did I say when this guy came in from day dot? What did I say to him? Yeah, I said I need to see what this guy does, and he hasn't proven nothing to me, bruv. He's proven absolutely nothing to me, and that's it. And the fools that told me I was an idiot, yeah, well that's on you, yeah, and that's on Ange as well, yeah. The guy's not a good coach. I'll get rid of him tomorrow. I'm fed up of him. Yeah, until he proves something to me, that's all I need to say, and that's it. And he talks too much as well, and that's it. Back to you, DP. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know. I've had enough of this crap.
I mean,
Big up, man.
I've agreed with
Dan,
you.
had a
I've agreed
question,
with
man.
you for a long time. I've agreed with you for a long time. Alex, are you into Marvel?
What's up with Marvel? Yeah. I'm into
Marvel
Marvel, yeah.
comics.
You look
Spider-Man, love it, bruv.
No, you don't look like Spider-Man, mate. You look like Blade.
Yeah, actually, you're like, yeah.
You look like
Yeah,
Blade.
that's so true. Oh shit!
And don't worry, that's Wesley Snipes, mate. There's no insult.
Yeah, no, bro. I'm like Blade, bro, because the thing is, I'm just having fun, bro. You know what I mean? Because Tottenham don't give me any fun at all, bro. You know what I mean? That's why I say, oh well, you never be so happy. Well, you can be happy with the football, bro. I don't need Tottenham to make me happy. Like I said before in the story, yeah, I don't need Tottenham to make me happy anymore because I've given up on that a long time ago. You know what I mean? When I say my breaking point was done after Pochettino, I mean it. I mean it. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry, this nonsense. And the thing is, though, I'm sorry. And I know it might be people don't like it, but I like the apologies from those people that were telling me that were running me off YouTube when I told you. And I'm glad I'm stubborn. I was never going to back this guy. I said, no, I need to see it. And I've not seen nothing. I've seen nothing. This guy can't even handle big characters, yeah? He cannot handle big characters. Oh, yeah.
He's never done it.
Who scored the winning goal against Manchester City, by the way? Oh, Matt O'Reilly. Oh, yeah. A real player. Yeah. Big up Sava, by the way. That he told us about him the whole summer, by the way, yeah? Right? The guy's been injured, comes on, yeah, scores a goal, yeah. Better than some of our midfielders right now. Where's Kulu today, bruv? Where's Kulu,
Where's
the
anyone?
superstar? Where is he? Where is he, bruv? Oh, nowhere. Like always, bruv. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We hype up our players too much. And we want backups too much as well. Like I said before, if you want backups, I want Harry Weeks back tomorrow. You know what I mean? Might as well just get Harry Weeks back. Yeah, because we said we chastised him, didn't we? You know what I mean? What about Johnson? What about Johnson, that tapping merchant, bruv? Where is he? Where is he, bruv? Nowhere.
Exactly.
Nowhere, bruv. I've had enough
Prejudice.
of it, bro. You know what I mean? And trust me, bruv, I ain't got started yet, bruv. I ain't got started, bruv, because the buyers just made me even more What? Oh my gosh, the buy's even got me even more going.
Alex, calm.
Go on,
You don't
mate.
know-
You're gonna
Be careful.
Terrible.
Be
Alex,
careful.
man.
You got
The boys
thought,
rolled
fam,
you up.
you thought Mercer was terrible. You ain't seen nothing yet from the main
You're
event,
gonna-
bruv. That's all I
you're
need to
gonna
say. And
start-
that's it. Back to you to pay. I'm done.
You're gonna start sucking blood now as well.
Don't
That's
bring
hard.
Dalek near Alex.
And I think like what I will also say is I'll back Alex in terms of like
You're a dick,
way back
Dad.
when we used to have conversations, and he literally also said, "Oh, 10 games, everyone's delirious, everyone's thinking about winning the league and stuff." One of the things Alex said back then was, "Let's see how everyone is when times are going bad."
Stell said
Let's
we were going to win the league. Do you remember, JP?
So, what's that?
Stell said we were going to win the league. Remember?
Yes, Dale. Hang out.
Do you remember when Will said theoretically we could get 96 points or whatever he said?
yeah.
I mean, look, with the reality
sucked
of this, yeah, everyone can see it. I mean, I still think if this carries on the way it is, I still think he's going to be gone in January or at the end of January.
No, before.
Christmas. I think it'd be Christmas.
No. The reason I reckon it might be the end of January because then that means Levy don't have to spend no extra money as such, apart from getting rid of him. But the other point of it is, if Levy wants to finish in the top four or at least get to fifth to stand a chance in the Champions League, he's going to have to kick him out by January and bring in a player or two to get up there again. Or is he just going to get a couple of lucky results like he has done? Because he always seems to get that close to the whole thing turning and then snatch a game and put, wallpaper over the crack on the wall. Like he did with Villa, like he did with City. Just as it was turning on him proper. And then he goes and gets that. A lot of people hunky-dory again, loving every minute of it. And then, bang, there you go.
Dan,
have a bit of losing to Ipswich.
You know what I think is ever so slightly different now, and why I think Ange may actually last a little bit longer than we think.
Mm-hmm.
It's because with the other managers, they will star players there to go and have a word with Daniel Levy. There is no star players anymore at Spurs.
No.
Agreed.
Right? So who's going to go up to him and say, Daniel, we need to change manager? I mean, not that I condone that because I don't like that. That's one thing I hate.
Levy will do
players.
it. Levy can look at the. Levy's going to be looking at that thing and examining it at the table and saying we ain't close enough to fourth place. And 25 years of history says, and I'll go by the history. I'll say it over again. I don't think Levy's changed his religion. I think he's still like a devil, whatever's into all that sort of thing, sadist, whatever you want to call him. And I still think he hasn't changed anything else about him. If he's not close enough to that top four or even top five to get in that Champions League, and he actually looks at Ange and says, my man ain't doing it. It ain't happening. Baked potato. See you later, mate. It's happened every time so far. I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he will start. Maybe he will stick with Ange this time. I mean, the way Ange sucks him off, he must love it. It's
almost just
That's
a
my
cheaper
concern.
option, right? It's almost a cheaper option, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you end up sticking with him, Ange is obviously taking sole responsibility for it. He's putting his neck on the block. He's coming out in all these press conferences saying, no, don't worry, it's all on me. So he's literally taking the brunt of it, from Levy's perspective. I totally get your point about your European money, because that does have a big impact, obviously, on the shares and like the stock that gets rolled over, and probably the dividends that they get paid at the end of the year. So it probably does have a massive impact in terms of
massive impact.
So he will call it at some point, but again, what he'll do is he'll probably weigh it up, right? If I go in and get another manager in, I'm gonna have to give him another 30 mil?
No. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant. Sorry. Don't worry. I thought you meant to Ange.
No. Yeah. So if you get another
you.
manager in, even if it's in a January window, plus January, knowing the January window, you tend to have to spend slightly over the odds to actually get the players you want, right? However, it could go back to what you guys were saying earlier, in terms of if you get another manager and who could just look at the actual system, look at the players that we've got and go, well, we don't need to play that system to get the best out of what we've got here.
Yeah, but JP, that's the problem. all the things you're saying, like, they sound great and everything, but we all know once Ange gets sacked, we're gonna get a Ryan Mason. So is it
Well,
gonna get any better?
it took
Because as much as I
60
don't
days.
like Ange, I don't want to see Ryan Mason. I don't want to see him
No,
for the
why?
third time in a row.
Yeah,
I don't
I
wanna see
think,
him.
I think Mason's better than Ange. I know that might sound controversial.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
like
Come
Ryan
on, Mass.
Mason.
Come on, Mass. No, you're better than that.
Well, what makes you think? What suggests otherwise? What his record?
Yeah, come on, like his record, like Mason.
Is it?
He bottled the final, played the wrong players in the
Well,
position.
that
like-
that was his first ever.
Mason
And just playing the right
Right.
players right now, Dietrich.
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, I don't know why you would say that. There's no evidence at the moment for me to suggest that Ange would do better than Ryan Mason for a whole season.
We might finish 10th. We might be in 10th place if we had Ryan Mason. Oh, just wait. We're already there.
Yeah.
Didn't Mason have a terrible record towards the end of Conte's reign?
Yeah, but
When he
look
managed
at
the team.
Yeah, but
I
look
don't
at what he
think
got
I don't
dropped
think
into
Maz
as well.
or I are saying that Mason is
Yeah, he
good.
had the best partnership, Kane and Son, and he still
No, but
managed to bottle.
Dietrich, I honestly to God don't even believe you need a quality manager with this team that we've got. I don't think it's nowhere near as bad as a lot of people say. If we say go and get a manager in January who just is good, knows how to do modern day football, can adapt in certain games. I mean, the Bournemouth manager is nothing special. Neither's the Ipswich one. Thomas Frank ain't nothing special. But I'm sure he could go there and say, right, January, get me another defender and maybe get me another winger. And then I can try and ride it till the end of the season. And he goes and plays 5-3-2 or 3-4-3-4-2, whatever way you want to do it, yeah? 3-4-1-2, either way. And he goes and does it like that. Then he's got his little bit of backup in defence. Hopefully, if everything went right for us on the injury side, he stands a lot more chance of doing it than Ange does. Just keep playing us this way, where 1 minute we can do it and next minute we get done, where it's so erratic, basically. I think that's all we need for the meantime, anyway. Yeah, in the long run, you could look at that and say, who knows what Spurs are going to do in the long run? Has anyone even known what we're going to do in the long run? I don't think anybody does, except for this youth project that we're meant to be doing at the moment, which we're playing none of the fucking youth players. So where are we going? I mean, why do you think he actually brought Conte in? What, to win stuff? No. He brought Conte in for two reasons. Shut the fans up, get me fourth place. Conte did it.
Because we were shouting Levy out at that Nuno game against United, wasn't it? When we lost 3-0 at home, he took off Lucas. I think it was then brought on. I can't remember it was. One, I think. And we were all shouting Levy out. Well, some of us were, I guess. And then he saw it as like, I need to shut them up because they're going against me now. Let's bring in a big manager. Conte, he finally paid the money to get him, and then he bought himself 2 years.
But the excuses for this manager, is just getting ridiculous now. And
how does he get so much?
He gets.
He's the most defended manager I've ever seen at Tottenham.
It gets to a point. It just gets to a point where it's just like, are you actually just, you know what I mean? It's like we didn't see these excuses for like Jose Mourinho, and he got us to a final. You know what I mean? And by the way, I didn't like.
Not even Poch.
Not even, yeah, but I don't like Mourinho. I did not like Mourinho, but Mourinho didn't get the players that Ange has got right now, right? And and certainly not Conte. So, like,
Alex, can I ask why people didn't like Mourinho?
I just didn't think he was the right man. I knew straight away that for me, when he came in, I was like, why are we sacking Poch and getting in Mourinho when we don't do what Mourinho wants? We're not.
But Alex, what it was,
that's not a reason to hate Mourinho, though, right? That's not his fault.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say what I said, Mads. When at the time, I didn't think it was the right move at all. I didn't think him and Daniel Levy, knowing what Daniel Levy's like over the time I've been a Tottenham fan for.
Yeah.
Even before then, because I've been a supporter since 1998. I just looked at him and thought, this is not a good move. This is not a good move. He's not a coach. He needs players in now to win, and I don't think that's you've come from Poch to
Who's not a good coach? Did you just say Mourinho is not a good coach?
Well, he's not. He's a manager.
He's a
isn't he?
fuck.
Coach.
He's a
No, no,
fucking
stop, Alex. No, no, stop, stop.
I'm not. Listen. I think Mourinho needs a certain type of player to work the way that
He
Go
won the
and watch-
Champions
go and
League
watch
with
it.
Portugal.
Go and
But-
watch his. Go on YouTube and watch his documentary where he does the season with Inter Milan, and then tell me he ain't a good
The
coach.
treble, innit? The treble.
He
yeah.
won the
Well,
league
but
with.
he
No, he won
wasn't
the
working
Champions
with-
League with
But
Portugal.
he needs certain quality of players, though, doesn't he? He's a
No, he
certain
Thing is,
doesn't.
Alex, things like
You
Levy
think-
wanted Jose. Levy was obsessed with Jose for
Yeah,
like
yeah, well,
what,
that's the
12,
point.
15 years.
Well, that's the point. That's why I think it was a big mistake, because I still think we needed a coach.
The interesting thing,
Jose weren't right for us, nor was Conte. They weren't right for Spurs.
but
You're
the
right.
Yeah,
thing
that's
is,
what I'm
the
saying.
interesting thing about Jose when we had him is if you look at the actual total points total that he had over those half seasons that he was with us, he was literally in the top three,
On.
like in terms of points wise, behind Pep and Klopp, I believe. And when you look at managers like Emery at the moment, in terms of points tally, right, he's doing similar. If we kept Jose, it probably would have manifested in him finishing higher up the table in the end of that season when he got sacked. But we never gave him the chance to do anything. So I just think, look, I get your sentiment, Alex. A lot of fans didn't like Jose, and it could be because of the style of football he played. My personal opinion was that we never gave him the players, which we sort of all knew that would happen. But if there was anyone in the world that would change Daniel Levy's opinion, you would think it would be someone like Jose, because he's so well respected. And it didn't. Then our second punt was Conte. And you thought if there was anyone in the world that would change Daniel Levy, it would be Conte. So in terms of what happens next with Ange, I hope that we get a manager in that has proper balls, unlike what Ange has got.
I want a
Ange
coach.
is the yes man.
But Maz, I want a coach. I want a head coach, because I think we're better off with coaches. I
agree with Alex,
I don't think Mourinho was the right sort of. And this was on Daniel Levy, by the way. This was on Daniel Levy, because I always said, Pochettino wanted to. I mean, I don't want to go back into history again, because we ran this to death. Got to be honest. But the point is, I think Pochettino was really wanting to leave in the summer. If we really wanted Mourinho, we should have got him in the summer and got rid of Pochettino. You know what I mean? Because that was what we should have done, or give him the rebuild that we needed him to do. You see what I'm saying? Because he was hard at it. Pochettino saying we need to rebuild this squad. We need to rebuild this squad. Yeah, like everyone knows now. You know what I mean? And he was always right on that one, wasn't he? But I'm not saying that Mourinho's not a very good manager. No, I just think he needs a certain type of player, right, that he wants, that he can work with. And when you look at that squad that we had, I think there was too many players that he could not work with. You see what I'm saying? Pochettino.
Yeah, because they were crap. Simple
that's
as
the
that.
point. That's the point. That's the point I'm making.
How can any manager work with crap?
No manager can work with these players.
With Pochettino, though, you give him a player, right? He will work with that player and make him into a good player. And I will I'm gonna defend him on this, because that is true. This is true.
No, it's not.
Because certain players he got a lot out of them, especially right when we were at Wembley, right?
Who did he?
I think a lot of people forget that. A lot of people forget that. I think Ange is getting getting it very easy right now. Getting it very easy. Pochettino, by the way, didn't have it very easy. Did not have it very easy whatsoever, right? Especially when we were at Wembley, there was a lot of discontent there. So, and I always look back at that and think he done well to do what he did. Yes, okay, he should have done better. He could have done more in the cups. Yes, he made some bad decisions. Yes, right, but there was a lot of upheaval there, and he glued it together for me, and that's it. And I say that the same thing with Martin Yole. Right, and Harry Redknapp. I will say those are the three managers for me in this tenure. For me, that have got really screwed the juice out of this. As far as I'm concerned.
But they signed much better players though than what we're signing at the moment. That's my concern.
Well,
like
yeah.
Daniel Levy at the moment is not just signing absolute dross compared to what we
I
used to
agree with
sign.
you. I agree with you because, like I said before, I don't know what we were doing this in the summer. I don't know what we were doing in the summer.
It's when you
And
look
I
at
said, you go.
when you look at most of those players, we've all admitted they're a bunch of pussies, bar maybe two of them, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Proper bunch of melts, yeah. So what they actually need, what Ange is a manager. You don't get many managers anymore. Not many people are managers. Alex is right in what he's saying. These days, it's a lot of coaches. You get people like Mourinho, for instance. He's a manager and a coach. That's why he's so good. Alex Ferguson, he was a manager and a coach. You go look at someone like Wenger, he was a manager, but he had his right staff to do his coaching for him.
Yeah.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Where this team is so light-hearted, basically, they need a coach. Someone like Johnson needs his man to go kiss him on the cheek and say, "Come on, boy, it's all right, mate. You can do it." So does Richarlison before he has another breakdown on the pitch. I mean, what's happening to him? Is he having a breakdown because of his ankles or because he can't hack it? Other players that do it as well. They all seem to need a kiss on the cheek, bar one or two of them. We need a coach, someone that can coach the players, not manage them.
Get his tracksuit on the grass.
Yes, basically, that is what they need. Alex is right there on what he's saying. We need a coach.
So is Ange like a manager to you?
Eddie Howe.
Ange is more of a manager. He's more of a manager than a coach.
Man, he's a great manager. He's a
he
good
doesn't manage the
manager.
game though, really. I don't think he's even a manager.
I think for me, he can talk for the England. Yeah, he's a good manager, right? But in terms of being a coach, this is why I look at this Nigel. It's the assistant that he brought in from. He used to be at Sheffield United. That Nigel guy, and he's supposed to be a player development guy. And from what I'm hearing, he's doing set pieces. So I don't know where this is at the moment. So no one's like I said, no one's improved in this squad. No one's improved.
And the thing is, if he's not a bad manager, I don't even think he's a good manager. But again, I'll go back to Wenger because there's the biggest one I can relate it to. He was a manager through and through, said his little bit and then stepped out. But what was the difference? He had a fucking good coaching team that he picked. Ange comes down here as the manager, all big balls. He doesn't even bring his coaching team from Celtic. And from what I heard, whether papers are right or wrong, he got offered to bring the coaching team from Celtic. And Levy was willing to go, thank you, and take them because where Celtic are so poor, you can just literally take what you want in Scotland. Like it or lump it. It is what it is. And he said, no, I want that other challenge of working with different staff. And that is out of...
You're right. He did say that. You're right.
Yeah. And so if he was to just be put aside to do that, but at least had a decent coaching team, but he doesn't. He doesn't even have that.
He doesn't.
We need
Rob Frank. That's a brilliant point by Rob, by the way. That is an excellent point.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to what Alex said though, a minute ago, Pochettino didn't have the backing even in the first few years that Ange had, but he made the most out of certain players. You mentioned about Wembley, or someone mentioned about Wembley. You know,
he played with the cards he's got.
He even made Sissoko look half decent.
Was a pretty average player. For a couple of seasons, he made him look a very, very solid midfielder. Wanyama as well turned him into a very, very solid midfielder. He made the most of that of what he's got. Ange has got a lot of backing. I think it's something like, what is it, 400 million? He's had something like that.
Yes, around 400 million.
He should be getting more out of the players that he spent that money on them. If they're all his players, and I'll hold him to that because he said everyone that comes into the club is his. You know, you're only holding a man to his word if he's coming out and saying every player is mine, and there's no reason why we can't go for the league title, and then we're not going for the league title, and the players aren't stepping up, and everyone's saying don't blame Ange, blame the players. Well, they're his players that he said he's happy with. Pochettino got the most out of the squad that he had, and in my opinion, if Jose or Conte had these players or the money that Ange has had, they would have done a far better job.
It's on Ange because it's more on the managers now. Now, this is the thing now, yeah? Look at what's happening with Man City at the moment, yeah? Right? They're on bad form at the moment. Who's getting the blame right now? It's Pep Guardiola, yeah? And Pep Guardiola is a world-class manager, elite manager, right? Because it's more on the managers, because it's about systems. It's not on the players now. If the players don't do what the manager wants, they're out the team, right? Okay, and especially now with Tottenham right now, right? All Ange does, maybe what I'm hearing at the moment, is him just doing this system. They're just learning the system. That's all I was hearing. They're learning the system. So it's all on Ange.
Well, they
Right?
need
It's
to go and get
all
some new
on
bloody chalk
Ange.
then, Alex, because the bloody chalk is broke on the fucking blackboard, and they ain't doing it too well, are
Well,
they? They ain't learning very
that's the
well.
point.
I'm
That's
agreeing
the
with
thing.
you.
Yeah, look, Dan, I've got respect for you because you talk the truth, like I said, like Scott does every single time as well. You know what I mean? Like Maz as well, like I said. You know what I mean? But it's like for me, it's just I'm just getting so tired of people saying that we're having
Thank you for leaving Haz
meltdowns,
and
but
Robbie.
yeah,
Ali.
but we're having
Thank you.
having meltdowns.
Thanks, Dietrich.
Yeah, no, having meltdowns, yeah. When
I speak nice.
you wouldn't say that about Maz. You wouldn't say that about Maz because Maz has been talking like this for a long time. I've been telling since day dot. Yeah, you're not saying that about Sava. You're certainly not saying that about Dan. And there's a certain other person that I can mention as well that no one wants to talk about right now. That I watch his channel and he's not enamored by him. He's no meltdown. Yeah, but that's what all I hear. And then what people do, yeah, is then they bring up Daniel Levy because that fits their narrative now. That fits up their narrative now because, oh yeah, it's all Daniel Levy's fault now. I'm like, what? What? Wait a minute here. Daniel Levy's not not the issue here. It's Ange is the problem because Ange is agreeing with everything we're doing, everything that Daniel Levy wants to give him, and that's it. Yeah, and Lange is awful. He's absolutely awful. It's got to a point now where I'm now saying I want Paratici back. Now it's embarrassing because I've been chastising this guy, saying he's embarrassing. Yeah, Paratici was 10 times more than better than him. Like I said, hindsight's a beautiful thing being a Tottenham fan. Like I said, it's embarrassing I have to say I want Højbjerg back. It's embarrassing I'm saying I want Lo Celso back because this club has proven to me that I'm not getting anything better than bloody Højbjerg or Lo Celso. So what's the bloody point? You know what I mean? There's always a dish. There's always a way. What I'm saying. There's always a single thing. What I'm saying. Yeah, it's not. I'm just saying this saying that out of spite. You know what I mean? It's like when I say Haaland is the above average John Carew without the goals. Yeah,
Here we go.
there's a reason why I said that. Yeah,
You
because
want a
when
good
he
run
doesn't
up
score,
till then.
because when he doesn't score goals, what else does he do? That's what I'm trying to say. But people listen to it and think, what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Kuva would back me up on this because Kuva actually understands when he actually listens, because he actually listens to me. Big up Kuva, by the way, every single time, and that's it. But like I said before, I am so glad Mr. Box Office is stubborn. Yeah, because if I wasn't stubborn, I'd listen to this fan base. Yeah, like I'll be flip flopping like every single one of our fan base who've got low standards, and that's it. And that's all I did is say, and that's it. Back to you, JP. I'm done. If you don't know, get to know.
Can I just say something? Sorry.
What I will say is, sorry, it has 2 seconds. What I will say is, I while you're saying it's not Daniel Levy's problem or Daniel Levy's not the fault in this scenario, he's definitely the fault in this scenario because if Ange is not standing up to him and if Ange is listening to him, that means who's actually running the club, as in the
But
team.
JP,
Is it
JP,
Levy or is it Ange? Ange should be the one there saying, "This is what I want. This is the players I need." That's what Conte said. That's
But
what
you
all
should-
the managers said. We just spoke about Pep just now. I think Dan said, if players are not doing it, they're out. Ange is going to let Levy say, no, you can't get rid of him. I paid 66 million for him. You're playing him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
JP, what you're saying is 100% true. But don't you think usually it's the fans that run the club? Because we have to set a standard as the fans. Then it goes to the manager. Then it goes to the owner. If we don't set any standards, like how are we gonna improve? Because you say Ange need to set some standards to Levy, but if we accept good football, good this, entertain, why
Just
would he
kicking it
change?
forward. If
Just
fans
kicking it
just
forward.
kicking it
So
forward.
so in a way, Ange is doing his job. It's just
Yeah,
us, the
exactly.
minority, that are not happy.
Yeah.
So Ange,
That's why
in a
I said,
way, is
yeah.
doing the job that most of this fan base requires him to
I
do.
don't think Dietrich. So I'm not sure that's true. Whilst I understand that there's a large contingent of happy clappers and then their inability to look at reality, the fact that a lot of the stadium boos at halftime, boos at the end of the games when things aren't going right, indicates that people know in general something's wrong, but they're not willing to take it a step further. I think what you said, though, is correct, Dietrich, when you said, look, people don't need to protest, right? They don't need to protest and do the leave you out stuff and stuff like that. I think well they do, but they don't need to in terms of it's their prerogative whether they do that. I think what they should do though is have standards. So if you're not willing to call for Levy to step down or move aside as the chairman or whatever, then at least have standards for the team. Demand better players, demand better managers, demand the results, right? And then that will put hopefully sufficient pressure on the management hierarchy to do that. But we don't even do that, not really. And I think that is the basic that I would look for at this stage. At least do that. At least demand better. When we signed Gray and Bergvall and Odegaard, the fans should have been up in arms about it, right? They should have said, Ange, what are you doing? Why are you signing these rubbish players? And they should have made their voice heard.
But Maz, you
We
said
have
that
got to be. Go on, DJ.
Oh, sorry, just quickly. You say the fans are booing and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's always a sold-out stadium. Fans are paying so much money in the bar. So are they actually booing and protesting against this ownership?
Let me counter that, right? So when Real Madrid aren't doing well, do they stop turning up to the games, or do they just like threaten to like burn the stadium?
Some of them,
no, they just start throwing a couple of white cloths and things change within a day.
Yeah.
So this is what I mean, right?
And
So you
they
don't
did not
necessarily like AC Milan as an example. I know Iggy brings that up, right? But they have ultras, they have fans who make things happen. We don't, and then it's a complex, nuanced situation, right? And I'm sure there's multiple ways to arrive to a conclusion, but we don't even do the basics. And you said it, Dietrich. We don't have standards, and that's the problem. Like my standard might be different to your standard, might be different to JP's standard. But I think as a minimum standard is we should demand a winning manager, let's say, one who wants to win, right? And then moving on from that, a winning manager wants better players to enable him to win. But we're not even demanding that. We're happy with Gray and Bergvall and Odegaard and players that, 10, 15 years ago, we would have been up in arms if we signed them as our main players.
Not even just happy with them, as we then go further and say that that Gray and Bergvall are better options than established top level midfielders. Somebody in the summer, and people are going to say, "Oh, they were just joking." They were fans saying Bergvall's better than Odegaard. They would rather have him than Odegaard. And they're going to say now, "Oh, I was just kidding." They were not kidding. I was in the chats where they said it. And like you said, we should be demanding more. But even if we're not demanding more, at least don't say anything. Don't then say these are generational players.
Absolutely, that's exactly my point. It's exactly my point. We're not even doing the basics as fans. We're just not doing the basics, right? I mean, there's a chap in a channel member says AC Milan is not a real estate conglomerate. Look, you can always find an example to disprove what I'm saying, right? There's going to be millions of examples out there, but all I'm saying is as fans, we should be doing the basics. Exactly what Scott said. Fine, we're bringing in rubbish players, but then don't make them out to be generational.
Yeah,
definitely.
The other thing is, the thing that I've learned doing this is I was always, the Spurs fans I knew, down the pub, everything else and all that, always up for it and that. Through doing this for 14 months, I've definitely learned a lot about Spurs and its fan base. I'd say we are the worst ones out there. We are worse than Arsenal. We are worse than Liverpool. We are the biggest bunch of pricks out there. Why? Because we take the whole bloody lot with no Vaseline and say thank you. And say thank you. and make it sound bloody good when we end up walking off like John Wayne, and we come back for more and more and say thank you again. What it comes down to is the fact that Arsenal even turned on the club. Next thing you know, the owner got his shit together. Arsenal fans even started having punch-ups with each other, a couple of thousand outside the club. Something happened. Man U supporters, what was it, 8 to 9,000 of them, even 10,000 of them, I think it was, turned up at Old Trafford and threatened to smash the place up if they did not change the fucking shirt. Newcastle, week in, week out, without fail, get this man out of our club. We want you to sell. Yeah, it took them a couple of years, but they still did not stop. Liverpool, done exactly the same stuff. We could go through quite a few other clubs that would do it as well. Spurs, no. What I think the problem is, one of the problems is with a lot of Spurs supporters, is we have a lot of happy-go-lucky ones that just want to see nice football. Then you got ones like our lot that get right moody and want to see better, aren't satisfied with crap, aren't satisfied with that little slag that you take home at the end of the night because she's too pissed and can't walk properly anyway. You want the fresh one that looks good and everything. Well, sorry, I want a good-looking one to take home. And then you've got a majority of our fan base which is scared. Shit's scared of change. What if Levy leaves? Okay, what do we do then? Now, we all know the grass ain't necessarily greener on the other side. We all know that. But, yeah, but he's got a stable. He's done this for us. We're the 8th biggest club in the world now. Look at this. Look at that. Yeah, from a business side, fine. But what are we as a football club? We are probably the most embarrassing, underrated, underachieving team on this planet with football. But no, as long as it's entertaining and as long as people feel safe and
the
steady,
basics.
it's
You're
all
not
right.
even protesting about ticket prices, for crying out loud.
No,
like you said,
people
we're
didn't
bending
even
over and just
protest.
taking it.
We didn't
Yeah.
even go off on one about what happened to the pensioners.
Yeah.
Why? Because you get certain pricks who do channels. Well, it don't affect me, so it's not my fucking problem. I can
That
afford a
peeved
ticket.
me. That peeved me, Dan.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm on about. Yeah, well, you can afford the tickets. Yeah, what about the average person who can't afford the tickets and that? Yeah, well, they're not my fucking problem. I've got money. Yeah, all right, mate, go do one. But Spurs supporters just don't do nothing. We are weak, and they are too scared in general of taking a chance. Whereas other clubs would say, we've had enough of this crap. Bollocks to it. If the next one goes and gets us, don't do nothing for us, at least we took a chance. I mean, what is it, Spurs? To dare is to do? To dare what? Oh, shit, that's it. I'll tell you what we dared to do. The dare we did was spend 40 mil on Gray that it'd be good. That's the biggest dare we've done in the past 10 years.
Great.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think
My
the
rant over,
first team.
sorry.
I think the first team. You're talking truth, Dan, like always. But the point is, is that you know, I think the first team's going wrong. I think the first team's just going wrong. I'll be honest with you, and I've seen it on Mr. Box Office TV, after the Aston Villa game, right. I think Unai Emery made a big mistake in that game in the second half, right? Okay, he played out from the back, and he just played to Tottenham's tune. And Sarr had a good game because he had energy. You know, who else was there? You know, and we got a couple of good goals. The second goal was a very good goal. I'll be honest. The second goal was a very good goal. From Kulu's assist and Solanke. And they just kept on playing at our game, and that was it. And that was the game over, and that was it. Really, if Aston Villa kept it tight, right, kept on what they were doing, I don't think Tottenham Hotspur would have won that game. I think it was either going to be a draw, or Aston Villa winning. Yeah, because they had it us on tenterhooks. That was it, really, for me, right? And like I think other teams like Brentford and West Ham have just played to our tune, and that's it really for me, because we are a momentum team, right? We have a certain amount of momentum, and when that momentum goes, that's when we're in trouble. You know what I mean? Because we need high energy, and that's it. And like we saw with Poch before, we can't carry on like that. You still need quality. Yeah, you still need skill. You know what I mean? And that will get you over the line. You know what I mean? Because that quality is better than just having just energy. You know what I mean? And that's where I just don't rate certain much of our players like Kulu's, like Bentancurs, like Basumas, like Sarr. I just don't see that quality. I don't see that. I just don't see it at the moment.
No,
You know what I mean?
Alex,
and
Alex,
accepting players like Archie Gray and that coming in, and that's no dig at him himself, but 40 million for a kid that ain't even going to bloody play. And when he does, he's out of position. Yeah, I'll say from what I see, I'll go by what 75% of the fan base, generational. Well done, Levy. Well done, Ange. Bang on. He's going to be world class. Okay, if he is, it's still going to be about another 3 or 4 years, and he'll fuck off by then because someone else will come and take him because we win nothing at Spurs. And it'll just keep going on and on and on as it does. But every time we even went and signed Werner for the second time, and people still bigged him up.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how anyone can big that up, Dan. To be honest.
No, there are people exist who still try and pick him
Mate,
up.
it was all over X and everything. They were bigging him up. No, Ange knows what we're doing. In Ange we trust. Well, I'm sorry. When Ange sits there and says our biggest problem is up front, we ain't clinical enough, and he goes and re-signs our biggest problem up front, he definitely don't know what he's doing, or he's Levy's bitch and just doing what he's told. He's got to be one or the other.
And it is Ange's fault, though. It is Ange's fault because the thing is, though, right? The club have put it out there. They did it with Mikey Moore, right? Because they said they brought in Timo Werner and Son because they don't want to block the pathway to Mikey Moore. And then people said, well, Mikey Moore should never play against Crystal Palace. So I'm like, well, he's in the squad. Yeah, but he's too young. He's too young. But he's in the squad. And everyone was saying that this is a generational talent and he needs to play. And if he doesn't play, he's going to go off to another club. I'm like, well, yeah, but he's too young, though. But he's still good. You still need to give him an encouragement. It's like, yeah, but if you're going to, either you're going to play him or you don't put him in the squad whatsoever then. You know what I mean? You've got to make a choice. Because if he's in the squad, he's good enough to play the... And the same with Archie Gray and Burval. We all said at the beginning of the season, said, no, we don't need any midfielders. We don't need any midfielders because we're very impressed with Archie Gray and Burval. Okay, then. Well, when this time is right, play them then. Have you seen them in the Premier League? No, they're not, because if you only see them when the game's done, it's finished. So that just says it all for me. It says it all. The only time we've seen them is in Europe, and they've not been very impressive. Let's be honest here. Let's say that, and that's it. Sorry,
Alex, just quickly on Archie Gray. Do you know since Man United, he only played 10 minutes in the Prem?
Yeah.
10 minutes, and we spent 40 million on a number 6.
Well, yeah, but
10 minutes.
It goes back to what I said. That Man United game was done after 3-0. That's why he came on.
No, he played 0 minutes against Man U.
Well, yeah, no, but he came on. He came on in that game with Burval.
No, he didn't. He didn't. No, he didn't. I'm looking at the stats right now. He didn't come on against Man United.
Alex, Everton.
It was Everton.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Everton?
No Man U.
Yeah. I remember because I was there. He came on in the number 6 for like 10 minutes or something like that. Wasn't he?
Anyway, guys, I'm going to shoot off. Have a nice evening.
Yeah, no, we're probably gonna wrap it in a second. To be honest, Maz.
Can I just say something? The biggest problem for me is that there's always goalposts being moved, always excuses. Like with Ange, we lose the game. Oh, it's a rebuild. But hold on, Ange tells on press conferences he always wins things in the second season. After West Ham last season, talking about the fucking title, which is delusional. Yeah. Problem is he's made people act this way. So when we win the game, it's like Ange is the best thing that's ever lived. The football's so amazing. When we lose the game, there's an excuse. Well, because even Ange did it himself. Because 2 weeks ago, he spoke about how it's only been 15 months, what you're expecting or something after we lost the game. But then when we win, he tells people to dream about the title and all this crap. I always win things. So it's
that's like
Spurs
supporters that's what we are, mate. And it basically goes back to what I was saying. Yeah. We get 5th place. People say, okay, fair play. Let's see where we go from here. But then all the others, load of others start going on. Yep, he's going to take us all the way next year. He always wins in his second season. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Everything else. All of a sudden, it starts going funny. Ange backsteps up on him. backsteps on
Himself. He does
himself
it
and
himself
says,
as well. Yeah.
it's a process.
Yeah.
Then those load of fans who were just saying, Ange's the dog's bollocks and we're going for the title. Now, what's the matter with you idiots, you negative pricks? We're on a process. Can't you see it?
The rebuild crap I got earlier today. Yeah, basically.
Just be patient. Just be patient. I've been told. And it's like, what am I patient for? Like I've been patient since 2008. Oh, that's not. Yeah, but we rebuilded since Pochettino. We didn't win nothing. So what am I rebuilding from? Oh yeah, but that's still a rebuild. It's, for goodness sake, you don't even know what a rebuild is.
They give off mixed messages, right? If he came out and said, Alex, this is going to take 3-4 years, for example, because that's what a lot of fans like you were saying this earlier, but and maybe like last year or something. Oh, I'm prepared to give him a few years, but then he's not coming out and saying this is going to take 3-4 years. He'll come out and say this crap. Oh, I always win things in my second season. Oh, we should be in title race next season. That's my whatever crap he was saying after West Ham, something like that. And then and the problem is like I can't trust someone. 1 week tells me one thing, 1 week tells me other. Then he goes out and signs a load of fucking youngsters in the summer, and he says, "Oh, they're all mine." Doesn't play them. So what are we doing here? We're just lost. And his tactics on top of that are crap. He talks nonsense. It's just like there's fuck all to get behind. Honestly, it's fuck all.
I don't care. I do not care about this guy. I just do not care about this guy. The fans have not helped at the beginning, right? And now for me, I don't. For me, and this is where my channels is the way it is. You know what I mean? I lose a lot of subscribers and I gain some subscribers. Yeah, I don't really care anymore because as far as I'm concerned, I'm organic. Yeah. Well, I spoke to Dan about this.
Man. I'm a small channel.
I'm an organic person. Yeah. In terms of football, yeah, that's why I call myself Mr. Box Office, yeah, because I'm an organic person, yeah, because I say what I feel, yeah. I don't do this stats rubbish that is now a big thing now these days, because I think stats, as we've seen now, right, good players back in the 90s, they would not been good stats, didn't have very great stats. You know what I mean? David Ginola is the one that's proven right now, yeah? David Ginola was a fantastic player, yeah?
No, but I think it was, Alex, you have to be careful what you say. You have to be careful you have to be careful what you say. Stats are, for example, Ginola, stats have a context. If you look at the stats, you might say, oh, he didn't have enough GA. But we all know he was playing left mid.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
So you just have to be careful when you use it.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Let me just cut you in this, Alex. I just want to say see you later to everyone. Cheers
Take
for having us on. And Ange, he's just showed us what he's all about again, hasn't he? Anyway, have a good night, you lot. Take care. Bye.
Take care.
But it just shows you what stats is all is stats. That's why I don't listen to stats, because for me, I'm more on just watching the player, and then I can make my own decision. And if you don't believe me from what I'm saying, cool. I'm not gonna say that I'm an expert at anything. I'm just seeing what I see because I know my football from the years I've been watching football for a long time. You know what I mean? So for me,
didn't you say Harry Winks was a good player?
Well, I didn't realize he wasn't a great player afterwards. No, then I realised he weren't a great player. Then I apologise to somebody who's the backstabber, by the way, right now for me. So you know what I mean. So
never apologise to him, Alex.
But you know, and I'm all right to say that because I defended him loads of times as well. But he's backstabbed me. So the point is that the point I'm making is right. Is that you know, if I can see what was a good player, and at the moment I do not see great players at the moment. I'm sorry. At our club, they are good players, but they are very inconsistent, and we didn't improve on that squad. And I think at the moment, Stelios was right when he said this on Dan's channel. I think the first team's going completely wrong at the moment, and they are expecting these young players to, you know, thrive. And at the moment, they're not ready. They're not ready.
So, Michael, welcome. We're probably not going to be much longer, but you have to vent, so go.
You know what? I feel like shit. I think I'm going to be sick. I kid you not, and not because of the game. I actually think I'm going to be like have a flu or something, right? And I was hungover today, adding to that, so I had a terrible headache, right? And these fucking idiots that we support, right? I barely got rid of the headache. I started watching the game, and I got the headache again, right? Like, it's honestly it's so infuriating because I know that, and rightfully so, like plenty of people can tell me that, oh, Michael, you said to be happy when we were winning, whatever. I still stand by it, right? But guys, and I can even fucking excuse like losing to Newcastle away, right? Because I don't think that's an easy place to go. I can like find a reason why we lost to Newcastle, right? I can find a reason why we lost to Brighton. It's a good team, right? But fucking losing to Ipswich at home, like we were talking a week ago, right? And Dan said something about that he wouldn't be surprised that if we lose to Ipswich, and I said I would be genuinely baffled, right? Because I honestly, in my heart, I didn't
That's a
believe we are
shocking
going to
result.
lose to Ipswich. Like, and with all due respect to Ipswich, because I actually really like the team. I think it's a team with brilliant history, and I'm really happy that they are back in the Premier League, right? A team like them. I would rather have Ipswich back in the league than fucking West Brom for the 10th time, right? But fucking to lose to a freshly promoted team that were winless in the league in your own backyard, it's inexcusable. There is nothing you can say to excuse this, right? Like these players should feel ashamed that they lost to Crystal Palace, who were winless again, right? But at least it was away. At least it was at Selhurst Park, which you can say, oh, it's a tough atmosphere. Oh, they were having a good day, whatever. Fucking losing to Ipswich at home, guys. It's a disgrace. Like, I honestly, I think I will take a break from YouTube for a week because I know we will get fucking grilled at every single channel that I can imagine, right? Like watching Don Hussam or fucking, other channels.
Everyone's
We
going to
will
be
get
ripping
grilled
us.
everywhere, and rightfully so because we deserve to get grilled, right? And as I said, like, if anyone in the chat or here, any of you guys wants to call me a happy clapper because I was happy a week ago when we beat Villa, fine, I will take it on the chest, right? But what happened today was fucking like I don't know if you guys went over it tactically or whatever. I think that's all useless going over tactics and shit, right? These players and this fucking manager should I don't know, because like you guys were saying about our fan base being pussies, right? And we here in Poland, like some of our fan bases, we know what they do. They storm the team bus and punch up the manager when something like this happens. And I'm not instigating violence, but fuck's sake, maybe some of them need that because, like, again, like I'm not literally saying that we should use like physical violence before anyone accuses me of like
We should.
propagating that, right? But
No, we should.
fuck's
I
sake,
propagated. We
after
should.
a loss like this, you know what happens in Poland? There is a guy with a megaphone, right? He's sitting in the stands, like in our south stand, right? And he calls over the team, and the team stands behind the goal, and they get the fucking bollocking of their life. Like what happens in the changing room if the manager bollocks the team, it's nothing compared to what happens when there is like 10,000 people sitting on a stand and they all want to, like, not necessarily like hurt you, but they are so disappointed with the performance. And I honestly think something like this should happen with this team because, like, as I said, losing to Ipswich, it's unforgivable for me, right? And honestly, when we conceded the second goal, I was chatting with my brother and he was like, oh, we do well in the second half, whatever, right? Like he's younger than me. He still has like hopium left in him, right? But I told him, mate, by the way, I don't know if you saw that, but in 2024, out of 15 home games, we conceded in 13 home games as the first team, right? We conceded the first goal 13 times out of 15.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And when I seen that, I told my brother, listen, mate, I know we've beaten Villa, I know we've beaten West Ham, right? But it cannot go on forever where you concede first and you fucking magically turn it around in the second half and score 4, right? It just dawned on me, and especially because we conceded the second one, I was like, there is no way we are clawing this back. And he was like, maybe we'll draw 2-2. Right? No, we are losing this 2-1. And what happened? We lost this fucking 2-1 and it went over because like my throat hurts and, and
Michael, let me ask you a question quickly. Were you surprised that we lost? Because I wasn't.
Honestly,
wasn't.
Dietrich, I was serious when I wrote this in the group chat. I was genuinely baffled that we lost to Ipswich, right? Because I was watching, like I have a lot of free time during weekends, right? And I actually watch like vast majority of Premier League games, and I've seen a couple of Ipswich games, right? And these guys are so open defensively. Usually, not today, right? But usually they are so open defensively that I just thought that we are going to, put some pressure on them, do a bit of pressing. They will have a mistake. Like I was watching Muric like passing the ball to opposition players, right? And today he was keeping everything out of the net, right? And he wasn't making mistakes. And credit to Ipswich because they were set up really well with the defensive line and how they did it. But honestly, guys, it's not the first time where a team just sits in like 5-4-1 or 4-5-1 and they just nullify us completely. Villa did the same to us. In the first half, they did the same to us. They were set up in a 4-5-1 and they just shut themselves in the second half. I don't know why. And Ipswich just didn't, right? And I think, Alex, you mentioned it, right? I think Emery got it completely wrong against us, right? And listen, credit to the team because they made use of the chances they got, right?
They did.
Credit to the team, whatever. But today it didn't happen, and it's a fucking disgrace, guys. We like a week ago we were talking about comparing like Ange to Nuno, and I still think it's a bit better than Nuno because Nuno we are getting slapped up 3-0 everywhere we went, right? But if you look purely at the results, Nuno got sacked when he was after 10 games, right? It was 5 wins, 5 losses, right? When he got sacked. It's fucking 5 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 5 losses now under Ange, right? Like, we are not a 10th place team. We are not a 10th place team.
Yes,
when
we
you
are.
look purely, I mean, when you look purely at the like names that we have, right? I think we are better than Fulham purely by the names. But under this manager, under this system, playing like that, we are fucking 10th and we deserve to be 10th.
Bro, we have the worst forward line, and that's why we're 10th.
But
the forward line is the
I think
worst.
we're like a top 6, 7 team if we played a different formation.
You're being nice. Okay. Other
No,
than
he's talking
Romero,
about the team in general, right? Not only
but like
not all the play. Yeah.
No, because like if you look at the players other than Madison, Romero, Poro, and Son, who else is like a top player that deserves to be in the top 6?
I mean Van de Ven, but he's injured, right?
Yeah, but Van de Ven, other than his pace, are you gonna consider him like a top defender?
I said
let's be serious.
At the moment, Van de Ven
he hasn't accomplished anything yet. Maybe in the future, but now no.
At the moment, I'm worried about those hamstring injuries clicking because it's going to click. It's clicking
because no top 8 team will have Werner on their team, or the likes of Richarlison,
it's a disgrace that we have Werner on our fucking team,
or
right?
Forster as a backup goalie.
But
nobody has that.
You know why we're
sorry, go on, Scott. I was talking a lot.
I was just gonna. We're a 10th place team, and Michael, you said the way that teams set up against us. Sometimes they can set up against us, and we don't perform. And Sava earlier in the show said he doesn't know we can be great or we can be terrible. Like we're 2 different teams all the time. And Lee was saying it the other day on the show that I was listening to. What's concerning to me is that it doesn't seem like we decide which team shows up. It's the other teams that decide. And that you know what I mean? Like it's the way the other teams play us. We can be really good, not because whether like we're inconsistent in how we show up, but if other teams play us a certain way, it seems they dictate whether we're good or bad on that.
You're
day.
right.
And that's what's really concerning is that it's not like we control how we play or not. It's how the other teams set up against us. And that's not a sign of a good team. That's a sign of that. Like that's a real big concern and goes back to what I mentioned earlier. And I don't want to always repeat myself, but I think it really goes back to that midfield and we never control it. Even when we're winning, we don't control that midfield.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really concerning when we're saying, are we a top 10 team? Are we a top 6 team? Are we a top 4 team? I think that Until
Right.
we're able to start to dictate the game to teams more, and we're not so reliant on other teams not pressing us or other teams not playing us a certain way, we're not going to be close to being a top team.
But-
It doesn't
by the way,
matter
guys-
whether we're 6th or 10th. We're not going to
But
be.
Scott,
good
Dyer
enough.
told us this because Dyer told us they don't practice.
Dyer.
No, you don't.
I know, but just hearing his
I know.
surname is
He was
like, you
right.
know, a
He said we
trigger,
don't practice
like a
defending.
PTSD
because we
triggers,
don't
you know.
set up to play against the other team in terms of situations and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
it's.
But also, it all goes back to Ange because Ange just stands on the touchline with his hand in his pockets and doesn't do anything. It's his tactics, but it's just.
But
If I
that's,
was a player, I would not be inspired by him. I'm not inspired by him as a fan, let alone a player. Like, do
but
something.
that's the
Stand
manager's tactic, isn't it? And his formation in terms of he wants to play this way. And as Scott was saying, it really depends on how the other team play.
because they can set up. You know,
If,
Yeah, they
if,
can set
if
up
they
to
just play with
counter
a
us,
low
and we
block,
always play the same way.
then we
By the-
just
by the way,
carry on,
because-
carry on, and nothing will
But
happen. And
under-
they'll hit us on the break.
Under Conte, we always play the same way, and we still manage to dictate.
Yeah, but
Two
you know,
midfielders.
Conte adjusted the details. I feel like he had, like, when he was
played the same
facing like a certain type of threat, like let's say we are playing Liverpool, and you know Liverpool plays through Salah all the time, right? He's adjusted like little bits so that we cover Salah better, right? I'm not saying he was successful, although to be fair, I think we drew twice under Conte with
Twice,
Liverpool.
yeah.
And I think
We
like
drew
in the second
2-2
season
at
where
home,
he got
remember
sacked, I
2-2
think
at
we
home,
lost.
I
But
think.
yeah, but we drew 2-2. I think we drew 1-1 at Anfield, which fucking drawing at Anfield is not a thing to be scoffed at,
Cesc
right?
scored. I remember, yeah.
Yeah, but because I really wanted to mention one thing, right? Because in the previous season, we were saying that we are sick of seeing the same goals, which were long ball over the top, you know, counter attack or set pieces, right? I don't know, like you guys probably noticed, right? But this season, we concede the same fucking goal. It's always like a cross across the box from, like, you know, like 5 meters away from the goal line, right? It's cross across the box, and our defender can't deal with it. Like it's always like it's a cross between the defensive line and the midfield. And like, how the hell does Sami Szmodics have fucking 15 seconds to adjust himself and do an overhead kick in the middle of our box, and nobody goes near him? It's like, because like
crazy.
many people, by the way, many people will blame Porro, right? But it was Johnson that was in front of the guy, and he didn't, like, he saw Szmodics facing him, right? And he just stopped and allowed him to take an overhead kick. It's like, mate, like, just go in and get kicked. You get a fall. And
Earlier in the year, it was
right?
another player that did it, right, Michael? Like, it's not just Johnson. We see it all the
Yeah,
time.
I like
It's somebody
today
else.
it was Johnson, right?
Yeah,
But
no, I'm
other
agreeing
games
with you.
it's
I'm agreeing,
different
yeah.
players, right?
You're right. It's so much of that same goal where whoever did it, today it was Johnson. Last week it might have been Sarr, but somebody's coming back and they don't pick up that man. They just leave him open all the time.
We said this
It's
before.
crazy.
It's almost like when they're heading back, they almost run back like headless chickens in
Yeah.
terms of I have to get back. Not necessarily look who I have to cover as I'm getting back, or if someone's running as well, I need to make sure I cover that run. It's like I just have to get back. It's
Did
kind
you
of the
guys
message.
see Brennan Johnson's stats today? Have you seen
I saw
this?
your super chat, so yeah.
Just to quickly,
yeah.
Brennan Johnson today, 0 GA, like we know that. 0 shots on target, 0 crosses, 0 chances created, 0 duels won, 0 fouls won, 0 dribbles. He did nothing. And that's a forward.
Like
not even a shot, not even a cross. Nothing.
You know what? When like
He was because I was at the game. Sorry, like, because I was at the game today. He was absolutely pants. Every time he got the ball, he stopped. He didn't take his man on. He stopped and he turned back and played the ball back. Every time Porro had the ball, acres of space in front of him, great opportunity for him to stand there in empty space, get the ball in empty space, and make a diagonal run into the box. He cut inside. And it's almost like he came inside and he was almost like hiding behind a defender.
Yeah. JP, you know, because like I think James today in the group chat pointed out that Son was also shit, right? But at least Son completed like 1 or 2 dribbles, and at least like 2 of the 6 shots that he had landed on target, right? He had that one where he I think he like spun one guy and went into the penalty box and took a low shot towards the far post, and Muric defended that. And there was this like one curling shot that Muric also saved, high near the post, right?
Yeah.
At least 2 of those shots went on target, and at least he completed some dribbles, right? I'm not saying he was great, but at least you can see that there is something dangerous about the guy, right? Johnson, I feel like if he doesn't tap in the fucking goal, like the guy, like he has a bit of, I feel like he has a bit of confidence about him because of the goals that he has scored, but it just means that he is slapping the ball whenever he gets the chance. And today, all of them went over the bar. Or that chance at the beginning of the game that he fluffed, that cross. I think it was from Son, by the way, or Udogi maybe. And he went like near post, and it went wide, right? It's like,
don't know how he missed that.
I don't know, but guys, like in August, I had plenty of people telling me, like in different group chats and Facebook groups, I had people telling me that we couldn't do better with. Bye, Scott. Sorry, I was rambling on too much and you didn't get to say bye. But yeah, I had plenty of people in August telling me that, Werner is a good loan. We cannot find anyone better. He's adjusted to the system. He knows what you want to do, right? And I will keep telling this, right? I went on FBref and I went on Transfermarkt, and like from top 7 or 8 leagues, I found like 45 wingers, I think it was, that had better stats than Werner in their respective teams and in their respective leagues. And I present people with those names, and they're like, no, I don't want this guy. This guy is shit. This guy is glass. This guy is something. This guy is something. And it's always like, can you have any fucking standards about your own club, right? Why? It's what you guys said about the fan base, right? Why are people accepting some of those surnames? It's just like ridiculous to be fucking Werner, fucking Johnson. Guys, we used to have Son, Kane, and Moura. And before anyone slates Moura, I think Moura was twice the winger that Johnson and Werner is. It's like we had that. We had Bale at a certain point playing with Son and Kane when we brought him back for that one Mourinho season, right? We had other guys that were much, much better than what we have right now. We still have Son, he's like 5 years older than what he used to be, right? It's not his fault that he's aging, but we support this with Solanke, who, fair enough, I don't think he's a bad player, but I don't think he's anything special, especially not at the level of Kane. And we have right wingers who are literally useless unless you put it on the plate and they tap it in from 5 meters, right? It's like, what do people expect? So sorry, Dietrich, go on. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, like, I remember, like, I was on vacation with my family, and I was at the beach, and I just said, like, let me look at my phone if there's any Spurs news. And I see we signed Odegaard. The first thing I said, I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, exactly. Who the fuck is this, right? That was my reaction too.
And then the same night, a couple hours when I was done, I go home, everyone's like, Odegaard's the perfect signing. He has the perfect quality. He's a 1v1 demon. I've seen nothing.
I saw people, Dietrich, I saw people giving stats out, the fact that, he's number 5 in the world.
He's better than Yamal at 1v1.
Stuff like that. Next to that kid at Barcelona.
Yeah, Yamal. Yeah, he definitely 1v1s the therapy bet well, because like he's always fucking injured. So yeah, he's good at that,
Right. Anyway, lads, it's a sad day today, and I've got to wrap now because I've got an early start in the morning. But big up to all of you. Thank you to everybody in our chat who contributed today. Big up to Ed. Thank you for the $10, man. Big up to a user. And of course, the day wouldn't be the same, right, without Dr. Tottenham visiting us. So we had Dr. Tottenham's PA donation, so big up to that. And also big up to, I believe it was Adam who gave us a shout out on TalkSport today. So nice one, fella.
Did you watch it?
I haven't yet because I've been on here speaking with you guys, but I will do
I'll watch it.
Everyone in the chat, much love. Thank you all. And with that, we'll say ciao.
International break.
International break. can't come quick enough for me, to be honest. But there you go.
Yeah, I will watch Poland get stopped by Portugal. So yay.